and
Mm.
complicated algorithms, and that's where I am. And you know, I found a lot of commonality between the signal processing algorithms and the machine learning AI algorithms, and that's what brought me in here.
Hmm.
And from this course, what I'm expecting is that today we moved, from the traditional ML into the Gen AI. There are a lot
Yeah.
of techniques coming, and I have studied as part of my Master of Science in AI about
Hmm.
the transformers and various models, like BERT T5 and all those
Good.
models, like how it operates. Now
Good.
we know that like we have to come to the current state of art models and what they use, and
Hmm.
that is what the interest of myself in this particular course, professor.
Thank you. So some of them may be a revision for you because of everyone may not have the background of transformers and all. In between, we will touch base on those as well. But definitely on top of it, we will be able to see what the overall Gen AI is all about. And most of you, if you have the background, then anyway we'll go one level above as well. So sometimes, usually we'll customize. That's the reason initially we'll spend at least 15-20 minutes. It may take to get an intro. Okay, the main purpose is also introducing each other at the same time, what level of background you have, because the same course, maybe I'm teaching from past at least 5, 6 cohorts, right? So every time we are also, there are some fundamentals which are very common, and on top of it, how do we upgrade the content every session for that matter, right? So keeping the building blocks. So that's why your introduction is always helpful. Yeah, welcome,
Sure.
Niyash.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, who wants to go next?
I can go next. Am I audible properly?
Yes,
Well, myself Prince Dubey, and I'm based here in Pune, India.
Pune. Okay.
And currently, I'm in more into fintech,
Mm-hmm.
and my day-to-day job involves playing with data. So basically, my core area is into data sciences itself,
Mm-hmm.
where we try to find out different insights and for the financial data sets. And the expectation from this course is to grab deeper understanding of the different technologies which I can utilize to to cater the different challenges that we face in the financial industry,
Mm-hmm.
because it's very sensitive industry and there is highly regulated regulations are.
Regulated industry, right? Yeah. Mm.
Yes, so that's where
Interesting.
I'm coming from.
Thank you. Welcome, Prince.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I go next?
Yes, please.
Yes, this is Badr. I'm from Saudi Arabia. Uh,
Saudi. Okay.
yeah, I'm working as a telecom engineer
Mm-hmm.
in a mobile network, dealing also with the also AI on the daily basis. I have also master degree in communication. My expectation from this course also maybe the same of the others is just to know more deep about the Gen AI and
Mm.
then the differences between it and the we can say the discriminative models and the other models
Yeah,
that we have. So
definitely.
I need to know also the building block of this generative AI and the other stuff deeply inside it.
Mm. Sure.
Yeah.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Rio, I can see from Singapore Biz Consultancy. Welcome. Yeah, go ahead, Chandrasekhar Srinivasan.
Hello, Prince.
Hi. Hi.
My name is Chandrasekhar, and see, I had the product management practice in my organization, and
Mm-hmm.
at this point in time, we are experimenting with a lot of AI within the organization. A bunch of engineers working for me,
Mm-hmm.
and my ambition as part of the program, and specifically in this module, is to understand, along with Gen AI, some more insights, if possible, on the agentic AI. I'm not sure if you plan to cover
Yeah.
that as part of this, but so I'd like to get a sense of that.
Yeah, by
Okay.
default it is not part, but usually I used to take one extra session to club it up. This time the timelines are so tight, but still I'm able to incorporate at least in one session that agentic AI, and we will try to give some hands-on as well on top of it. But I'll try, because now agentic is becoming so common, even though initially we have not touched upon the term at all, even for the initial cohort. But in the recent last 2-3 cohort, I started covering some aspects of it. So we'll try to manage that also here. At
Thank
least the
you, Vivek.
foundations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah. Who wants to go next?
Good evening, sir. I can go next.
Yes, please.
My name is Suvir Bajaj from Bombay, India.
Hi.
My background, good evening. Hi. My background is I work in marketing services with a focus on digital. I feel like GenAI has integrated our industry very, very quickly and very
Yeah.
rapidly. And it's become completely unavoidable for us to be able to embrace, and not only embrace, but integrate GenAI into the digital marketing services workflows across content, media, data, and technology services. So I guess my expectation is to try and figure out how we can harness GenAI both from all four perspectives, basis platforming, basis agentic, basis a lot of data synthesis, basis multimedia mix modeling that we work on. So that's the background in the industry that I come from.
Okay. Welcome, Suvir. So Chandrasekhar, you are joining from which location? Which time zone you are?
I'm in Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Okay.
How about you, Professor?
I'm in Bangalore. So I have not given my intro. I'll give it, because sometimes people join from US also, just to make sure we are understanding the time. And that's the main point. I'm just asking that. Yeah. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. Professor, hi. This is Vijay.
Vijay.
Yeah, you can just call me as Vijay. I'm from Chennai, and I am in IT services. I do the delivery for various customers, and I am a user of GenAI and agentic models and agents. So my interest is more on understanding the pre-trained models and the more of using and getting implementing the SLM and LLMs, Professor. That's where my interest lies.
Got it. So we will give enough of information in terms of what constitutes that LLM. If at all you want to build the SLM also, right? The techniques what we talk about definitely will be able to help you. That depends on the time wise, right? Depending on the organization, when they are ready. As of now, not many people are ready to build the SLMs, but it's just matter of time. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. So who wants to go next? Some people who are comfortable in typing the chat also, just like Rio. So please go ahead based on your comfort. Please.
I could go next. My name is Kashif Graves. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. So timeline is like about 9:12 a.m. here. I'm a commercial executive in the telecom sector, focusing on commercial marketing, sales, product development. For me, is to understand, similar to one of my colleagues that spoke earlier, how we harness Gen AI to create effective CVM tools or predictive models or customer behavior and marketing, digital marketing. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome. So which location you mentioned, Kashif?
Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean.
Okay. Caribbean. Okay. Welcome.
I can go next, Professor.
Yes.
My name is Atif. I'm based in Calgary, Canada.
Canada? Okay.
Yes, I've been working for a couple of decades in tax consulting practice.
Consulting.
Right. And artificial intelligence is making its way into professional services firms.
Yes.
And they're still figuring out how to utilize it most effectively. So my focus is on the intersection of AI, tax consulting, business strategy, and governance. And I'm particularly focused on how AI is to be used for better decision making, how it's changing the business strategies for professional services firms. And one of the bigger things is, because we deal with highly regulated industry, how to adapt it responsibly.
Definitely. So you are more on the governance side. We cover some aspects of it, and there is another module on responsible AI as well that will go a little more deeper into that, but we will also cover some aspects.
Right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good morning, Professor. It's Leon.
Leon.
I too am in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Okay.
And It's a little after 7 a.m. here.
Mm.
And I work in construction. I'm a executive in a construction company, and I lead sustainability, health, and safety. And for me, I have no background as a practitioner in AI. I came into this program to learn, to look at our organization, look at our enterprise strategy for AI and its uses. So kind of like at TIFF, I'm trying to understand the ethics behind it, how we can use it for the organization to grow our business, to leverage our people and their capabilities. So for me, I'm very much a learner early in my understanding of AI. I use it in our business, but understanding how it works and technology behind it and the capabilities behind it is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm
Definitely.
35 years in my business, so I'm at the tail end of my career. And for me, it's a personal interest as well.
Definitely. I appreciate it taking time to learn these new things with your experience. People like you who have strong domain expertise, right? So they are very much needed to wear the hat of AI in general. Maybe GenAI is just one part of the module. So I welcome you. Who else? I welcome even Milan from US, background from program and project management. Okay. Who else?
Professor, I can go.
Yes,
If you are.
please.
Yes, it's Binti from Bangladesh.
Okay, hi.
Yeah, hi, Professor. I'm in business of electronics, IT, and since very long years. And my company is a pioneer company in Bangladesh who is providing cybersecurity solution to the private and public sector. So my interest was to know the next emerging technology and AI more elaborately as a student, of course. So actually, I got into this in this course. So definitely, my fellow colleagues and friends are very. They have a vast knowledge on this. So I want to know more in details, just for my business and my future progress. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Welcome. I can see Jim as well joining from Singapore. Welcome. Who else? Have we covered everyone? Still, we have a few more people.
Hi, Professor. Can I go? This
Yes,
is Manny.
please. Hi, Manny.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Same
I'm Manny. I'm usually located in Singapore. 6 months I live in Singapore, and 6 months I live in Italy.
Okay.
I've got a background of running large corporations. Currently, I run a digital health business for a couple of African businesses in Africa. I've got a business background, but I also have a Master of Science in computing. And I got into the DBA program was because I figured out that quite early that using AI, with AI, I can develop, run, and support my business with just a couple of people instead of 15 people that I used to have. So I'm really, trying to learn and figure out and trying to see how it can enhance my business and how I can get involved further by creating productivity in different industries. Yeah.
Welcome, Manny. So people like you and a lot of domain experience, right, in running the business. Definitely, you will be the change makers or change agents in terms of the AI transformation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Who wants to go next?
Yes,
I noted
can
down
I
around
go?
15 people. Yes, please. Amin.
Yes, this is Amin Shakaki. I'm joining you from Saudi Arabia. I'm working as a digital transformation consultant with more than 25 years of experience in IT and project management and digital transformation. What I'm interested in here is not only to know the technical capability of the GenAI, but also the governance framework, maybe management practices and risk consideration required for successful enterprise adoption. This might be including examining how organization maybe establish policies, define accountability, and manage data privacy and security, and also the ethical concerns with regulation compliance, because this is here very restricted in Saudi Arabia. So this is my expectation.
Definitely.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome. Some of the expectations we'll definitely meet here on Gen AI. Even I do have background on some of the business law aspects, so I will share some of those. But maybe one and a half session is limited to that. But that will continue in your next module of responsible AI in little more detailed way. We'll try to balance it out. So here I'm definitely talking about not just only technical aspect, business aspect, some aspects of ethical and governance, and which will be strengthened further in your next module as well. Okay, that's for Amin. Welcome. Who else? There are a few more people. It's not by force, it's just voluntary only. So I can see Choing. Hopefully I'm spelling correctly. Teddy. Okay, Teddy from Hong Kong. Okay, welcome. There are a couple of people from Hong Kong. In a local secondary school responsible for AI in STEM education. Interesting. Education. Welcome. So anyone else who wants to share?
Yes, I wonder if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear and see you as well.
Hi, hi, Professor, and everyone. So my name is Win, and I'm from Vietnam. And my name can be pronounced like W-I-N.
W-I-N.
And I've been an entrepreneur for the last 15 years. And I opened, like, this is my third company, and I'm running in manufacturing. And also I'm running an edtech company, and I'm also doing with a lot of women entrepreneurs in Vietnam. And so and I hope that whatever I learned, I just want to understand throughout very clearly, so that it also benefits beneficial to my business, as well as helping other women entrepreneurs in Vietnam as well. So I'm a bit different, might be that I have been with GGU for the last 3 years. So I started in 2023, and I was in I was in DBA, but different sector, I think, in business. And then I've thought that, I need to also understand the technology as well. And so that's why prior to graduation, which I'm supposed to graduate this year, but I just would like to start everything over and would like to extend the studying. And so I'll be with the class. Thank you. So if you need anything out of the class, if you ever visit Vietnam, which is also very beautiful, I would love to be of help in any way. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you. Your name already contains Win, you are saying. So you are already successful entrepreneur. So you can definitely apply AI in your thing, and then hopefully we'll start new in your journey as well with the knowledge what you are gaining. Welcome.
Thank you.
So welcome Shahrazal from Malaysia, subsidiary of the largest oil and gas. Welcome. Yeah. Have we covered everyone? Not yet, I guess. Maybe another 2 minutes. I can cover other people as well. Yes, Sam, I can see you are joining from Singapore. Okay. Anyone else who wants to go?
Hi, Prof.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Peter from Singapore. I've been a videographer for 35 years. So my actually interest in joining this DBA is actually to pursue my research interest on why do successful people or organizations fail. But because this is a DBA in emerging technology as well as focus in AI, I'm currently facing a challenge on how to harmonize this thing, to make it into a acceptable research material or that has a focus in AI.
Interesting. So yeah, hi to your avatar as well. So It's nice to see. We're already, I'm sure you are using some of these Gen AI aspects, and I'm sure we will go into a little more details of how it is really working, how you can use it further as well. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else wants to share? Okay. So if there are any other people who wants to share, go ahead. Yeah. Otherwise, let me slowly go ahead in terms of I can see around 27 people. I heard of at least from 21 people. That's fine. Anyway, it is volunteering activity. Just to make sure we understand each other, and then I can also bring some of the use cases accordingly. So if I see at least for the 21 people who shared the background, just like other cohorts, we do have people from different geographies. I can see less of India here, or maybe some people from India, but we do have people from Singapore, Hong Kong, Saudi, Vietnam, Canada, US, even Caribbean, right? So it's definitely a heterogeneous batch representing different time zones, though this session point may not be very convenient for each of you, but they have fixed the slots, keeping the wide range of people who are joining primarily from different time zones. So okay, let me introduce myself here. So if we cover everyone here, so the people who have already given the background in the chat, I appreciate it, and the people who are wise over their interest as well. Okay, let me slowly go into what my background is. There's a lot of information there, which I don't want to bore you with all of that. So, but just let me give you what kind of background I can add for you. You are all business leaders, right? That's where by the time you reach to the program, I'm not teaching to the I do that in my other slots, maybe to the MBA graduates, or maybe to the PhD graduates, or to this engineering graduates, the same topic of Gen AI, right? But the level of expectation is slightly different for each of you. Anyway, the course point of it, I'll go from next slide onwards. But what I can offer you here is I'm working as a vice president, head of AI engineering in one of the pharmaceutical company, even though I'm not representing any of my organizations here because it's just a voluntary effort of teaching here. I do respect the IP of the organization just like you do, most of the business leaders, but I can abstract out the experience from there. I have maybe around 100 plus use cases in the last 15 years, which I was involved with. So I can help you out in terms of taking that expertise at each of the topic point of view. So how can we go little deep in terms of understanding the technology, not at a mathematical level, but at least at a conceptual level, why it is really working, so that whether you can use it efficiently is one way to look at. And at the same time, if you want to build something, maybe just like another enterprise, or maybe you are heading your own AI transformation, those things definitely will be helpful. Okay, so if you see my journey, so I have my master's, then PhD, then I have done my management education, even the business law as well recently. So I'm a continuous learner by that way. So I appreciate the people taking time out here as well. And I know how tough it is to manage your regular work and these kind of activities, at least in this case, in your case, maybe almost like 3 years. One advantage is maybe for me, the PhD is almost like no time bounded. So it took 7-8 years. At least for you, if you are really serious and able to manage time within 3 years, you will be able to get a DB. That's a good part. At the same time, I do have innovation background, and then I worked in both product and services organizations. So I'll give my expertise in this process. At the same time, when I check some of your background, yes, I can add some examples from telecom from my previous background. Then I'm more of a horizontal person, even though I worked more on healthcare, now pharma and telecom a little more. But prior to that, I worked with multiple customers, right? So in summary of that, keeping my background, so as of now, I am building Gen AI, agentic AI applications at production level, which are generating revenue as well. So with the due respect to the IP, we want to bring in, as a leader, when we are looking, wearing the hat of Gen AI, what are the things which typically the industry is expecting? That's what I will focus on while covering the topics given by the GGU, right? So that's where my background is. So I'm based out of Bangalore IST time zone. So anything else you want to let me know? I have given my coordinates of, I have not given here. LinkedIn I might have given here. I'm active there. So if you want me to connect anytime, if not now, right? So feel free to. I'll share the deck at the end of each session. The reason I'm not sharing in the beginning of it is maybe whether we cover everything or we cover more than that, the changes, anything, right? So immediately it's my responsibility after the session. If you're not getting within a day, so please alert me. Otherwise, I'll make sure at the end of the session, I'll upload it. Before we go into the session, anything else you want to know? Are we good?
We are good, Professor.
Okay, perfect. So what we typically general guidelines point of view, we will go into the GenAI introductory part. Anyway, everybody knows GenAI, and if I ask anyone not using it, I'll be surprised if anybody raises their hands, right? So, but AI itself is doing a lot of transformation in the organizations, both from our personal day-to-day life or even enterprise AI. GenAI is becoming much more powerful as well for creativity, and even from it has a potential to unleash a new era of human innovation is what Musk was talking about. So as of now, we still not reached the AGI. So if I use the term like artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence, are these familiar or do I need to explain any further?
You can give a bit of explanation, Professor.
Okay. So ANI is, let me write it here. So usually I will, if I write anything, I'll anyway keep it that also while I'm uploading here. So we are talking about ANI, artificial narrow intelligence, then AGI, artificial general intelligence, and artificial super intelligence. So when you talk about the three stages, 1, 2, and 3, what is your expectation? At which stage we are in? Is it 1, 2, or maybe in the transition to 1, 2, maybe 0.5, or maybe 2.5? So at what stage you feel we are in? Based on your understanding, I'll explain anyway what is ANI, AGI, ASI.
In the ANI, we are at
ANI. Okay, 1 to 1.5, right? So definitely we are in ANI. We already proven that. So my expectation to talk about is we are we are marching towards AGI. We already mastered kind of ANI. ANI is more like artificial narrow intelligence. Whatever we are doing from machine learning, deep learning, by this time, you already have good understanding of what machine learning is, what deep learning is, right? So how we are trying to use, what kind of business problems we can solve with that. Once you are, maybe I will touch base if there are any gaps there, but otherwise that's what the basic expectation or the precursor to this particular module. And another aspect is we are marching towards the Gen AI. Some people argue the Gen AI is one step closer to the AGI, but some experts may not agree completely, right? Gen AI, LLMs are reached their maturity. AGI to reach, we need to do a different ball game. This may not lead to the AGI. Let's see which theory will really reach there. But what is AGI? AGI is competing with our human brain. And as of now, also, there may be billions of neurons and trillions of these neuron connections, which are working at a very, very low cost. What does that mean? So now we are burning the dollars for the data centers, all these tokens and all that. Now our brain is much, much more powerful and have some kind of a common sense kind of an activity, which many of the existing ANI may not have. Right. So AGI, you can see it as ANI is specifically doing some activity, may not be very generic, but a narrow intelligence, as the name indicates, it is doing good job of that particular task. Whereas AGI, it needs to be a little more generic, artificial general intelligence, and maybe compete with the human brain. So whereas ASI, the next level, what we talk about is supersedes, right? There may be what will happen to the humanity during that time, and then who will take the control. Those open questions are there from ASI, but we are far from that. Don't worry on that, right? So even some people argue we are still 5 more years to AGI. Some people very optimistic may say 2, 3 more years. Some people may say 10 years, right? So we'll see. One is just getting that level of acceptance that we reached AGI. But how safe is that? Just like at least some of you are interested in the governance aspects, right? 2, 3 people I have seen. Coming beyond the technology, what I see now, if I make a statement like this, let me see how many of you accept it and who will challenge me back. We have enough of the technology of this Gen AI or agentic AI, even if you stop or slow down, right? Or even if you stop for next few years, we have enough business problems to solve within the guardrails. And with the technology is good enough to solve those. Do you accept it or challenge it me back saying no? Yes or no?
I accept there is a scope to solve a lot of problems with the current level of invention. The reason because we have found many machines to solve or assist us in increasing our productivity, but
Yes.
thinking has not been assisted by any of the machine. So now the current Gen AI is able to think to certain level, and that way it can assist. But again, like even in the sophisticated LLM engines, based upon the user, there is a differentiation. So two different people who are using that, and with the level of prompt and the interactions what they have, they are able to differentiate. Now that means that the human intelligence is basically triggering the LLMs to reason in a certain way and distill the information. So maybe when it goes to the AGI, the early indicator is that even the novice or the intelligent, if they are interacting with such kind of engines, they will be arriving at the same kind of outcome. That must be an early indicator as well as warning, saying that the AGI is coming to reality. But till that point of time, a lot of things can be resolved because currently every interface is becoming so much sophisticated, even if it is banking or booking a ticket, so that the user need to understand a lot of stuff and then key in. And perhaps these thinking machines can help in solving the interface. That way, even a common man or a elderly can easily use such kind of sophisticated machines. So that's where, in that premise, there is a lot to be done.
Yeah. So you might be, there are people who raised their hands. Let's go one by one in the order. Suvir.
So I'm principally agreeing with your thesis
Yeah.
for the prime reason that I think for the first time ever, whatever we are calling AI today, Gen AI today, etc., not decoding that just now, but for the first time, it's gotten democratized because it's gotten put into the hands of every single person. It's kind of the same as the desktop revolution that happened, the mobile revolution that happened, etc. And I guess similar to what Niyaz said right at the beginning is that there's a lot of depth of the existing capability that platforms have that human beings have not even had the chance to explore just yet because of the because it's so new, because of the novelty, because of the paucity of time to be able to do justice to it. And I guess because it's because it's democratized it by putting it in every single person's hands, everyone is still interpreting it in the capacity that they want to themselves.
In their own way, yeah.
Whether it's for retail, whether it's for enterprise use cases, whether it's for personal benefit as well, everyone's interpreting it in their own way. So, of course, as technology has a lot of scope to develop and it will never stop developing, I'm agreeing with your thesis saying that where we are today will still take the common man at a retail, at a personal, at a business and enterprise level, at least the next 12 to 18 to 24 months to fully explore, to juice the value out before we start getting excited about the developments in technology that further burden the environment and further burden the PNL, going forward.
Definitely. I appreciate your reasoning as well. Next, Atif.
Yes, Professor. I can speak from the business perspective, especially professional services firm. And one of the challenges that we are seeing is that a lot of organizations are playing with these tools or toys, but they're not defining. They're struggling to figure out how to define the problem in the right way. They want to solve the problem in the right way because there are some tasks, because of being highly regulated, they are still to be carried out by human beings. So there is a little bit of challenge how to break down the workflows to embed Gen AI, Gen AI in the right thinking process. Having said that, I would say this, that I think, yes, we are moving too fast for technology, and that's the nature of technology. But at the same time, once we reach AGI, that's just a personal opinion. I wonder if we will be creating more social problems, economic problems, than solving any business problems.
Definitely. So there is going to be a lot of, as some of you tell, we need to put a lot of governance, and then whether it is reaching to the right, is it the technology is in the right hands, and then a lot of guardrails we need to place, and the trust issues, the competition. There are a lot of other things come into picture. So we'll wait and see.
100%.
We'll definitely see that. Not very
Right.
far.
My background is economics and poli sci too, so I'm looking at it from that angle as well.
Definitely. So that's the beauty of these kind of cohort members. So you are also good sampling that way from different geographies, different interests, right? So I'm sure we can learn from each other as well. That's what excitement for me over the weekend to spend time with you, right? So sometimes the people challenge me back. I may have an answer. Only thing is I'm maybe little early entrant in the space where I'm able to share my experience. Otherwise, I learn the business aspects or the real challenges from you as well. And then one more style I adopted in for this specialty, this GGU program, is every session, because we do have almost like 3 hours to spend in a day. In the beginning of, just like we have the icebreaker today for maybe 15-20 minutes, every session I want to make sure what is the new thing impacting AI and Gen AI in that particular week. So, and we will, I'll give my reading, and then maybe first 10 minutes or so we'll spend while others join, or getting it back. Some of them are very important. Let's say Mythos came last time and we are discussing what is the impact of it, right? So we won't talk about everything, what is happening, because there are so many things. What is the primary thing? If you see that value of it, I'll continue for this cohort as well. Yeah. So thank you. So then we will take 2 more points and then I'll go into the next part. So Badar.
Yes. From my side, I can say it's accepted depending on the accuracy that we need, that we're looking for.
Yes.
If we reach it and we can say the system is satisfied, but if we didn't, we might need to work more.
Definitely. If at all you are seeing that, okay, some more technology you need to make better. So most of the cases, what is happening, the technology is mostly we'll be able to reach the accuracy part. The other thing is at what cost, right? I keep talking about in the beginning of it, especially for Gen AI, CLP, cost, latency, and performance. You are talking about the performance, but at what cost and at what time I'm getting, right? So that is important.
Actually, we have one live project we have done here, and it was failed because of the cost and the accuracy. So
exactly. So this is where I keep talking about the CLP on this, and then performance, not just only accuracy. There are other aspects as well. Just like you recollect from machine learning, there may be sensitivity, specificity, a lot of other things, right? So yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Pin.
Hi.
If you're speaking, you went on mute for some reason.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So we are we are at we're at ANI and AGI, and we're not yet to AGI. So I'm just curious about the time. Well, how long did it take from for us to get to ANI, or maybe from ANI to AGI, Professor? And then what is the expected time to reach ASI?
Good point. So I'll try to cover that using a Gartner hype cycle as well. I do have the slide, but just let me answer briefly, and then I'll cover some more points there. So to reach to the ANI, maybe it took a very long time, because the technology wise, you might have seen in your deep learning history, it started almost like 50 years ago, right? But it has its own AI winters, and then not able to reach to the expectation in terms of why we are talking about second wave of AI. Just most of you agree by this time is one is the compute infrastructure. Then second is the availability of huge amount of digital data. which was not there even, let's say 10, 15 years also. Not talking, let's forget about the 50 years, but even then. And the third one is especially the architectural aspects which we can reuse. Otherwise, machine learning is there from past 20 plus years, 25 plus years, right? Which is going into the production. But especially in the last 10 years or 12 years, what's happening, or not even 12, roughly 2012, around 14 years. The deep learning, we can cross-learn from different departments in the organization or different domains. So that's the beauty of it, whether it's a computer vision or NLP, natural language processing. That's the reason it is going in much, much faster way than other technologies. So to summarize that answer, ANI took a very long time, almost like 50 years to reach to that. But the AGI may not be able to take that much. So as we speak now in 2026, my expectation is by 2030 it may come. So some aspects it may come a little before also. But still to reach to the plateau, plateau means, I will explain from the Gartner hype cycle. Most of you know as a business leaders, though it may take beyond 2030. But initial things I am expecting with the pace what we are going by understanding the brain and then putting the chips inside the brain of these and understanding decoding with the huge investments on the infrastructure. So whether it is a cost efficient or not, I'm not guaranteeing at this stage. So whether it reach to the I'm not saying it will reach to the plateau by 2030, but you will see the initial flavors within 3-4 years is my personal betting for AGI. ASI, it may take some more time.
And in terms of countries, what are you thinking about those countries that have been way ahead in regarding AI? Is that American?
Yes.
Like China?
China, definitely. Yeah. So these are the top 3 superpowers as we speak now is definitely US and China. Third, maybe competing with some European countries. In India, there are other countries depending on how well they are able to get it into. But these are the top 3 as we speak now. But there are even good investments are coming from the Saudi and those areas as well. They are also not very far behind, but we need to compete. And then it's not like only the models development, right? It needs to be use cases, and that's where I am using the term AI diffusion. So just generating an LLM model, maybe DeepSeek is much more efficient than OpenAI. Right? But at the same time, how many people are able to adopt it end-to-end life cycle is what really matters, right? So we'll wait and see who will compete further. But every country has the chance because we are using the term something like sovereign models, right? So you don't require to force to use, let's say, the Western models. So you can develop in your country your own models, right? But first we need to have the blueprint and then try to use maybe existing models, whether it's from China, whether it's from US, doesn't matter. But once you have the pipeline and then once you have enough data, enterprise data within your, let's say, country, within your enterprises, then you don't really require to depend on them. So that will take time though.
Thank you. Sorry, I just have another very quick question.
Yeah.
So from what you're reading and you're also in the top 3 countries, or maybe you exposed to those ahead in AI countries.
Yes.
What are the top 3 problems that you trying to solve right now? Because usually those AI-led countries are like way ahead. And so the problems will eventually happen to other countries as well. So I just I'm curious. Because right now in Vietnam, we saw that they're excited, and they're also trying to implement and to see some use case. But I do think that its basic use case is not that advanced. So they don't really know what the problems are ahead yet. Maybe the problems currently right now I see is that the cost, like we currently saying, and then they go back to human because the cheap labor is still pretty cheap and also more reliable than trying to fix the problem with AI machines. But but do you see like the cost is getting down and then eventually will be very cheap? So it's heading there anyway. And so what are the top 3 problems that you're trying to solve right now? Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, interesting. We will touch upon those anyway, even down the line as well. I'll give you one article which I was writing or wrote a couple of maybe months ago that may be relevant in a detailed way, you can just comment on that as well. I'm just giving those article direct link. So whichever is relevant, you can take it from there. I'll answer briefly and then go forward from here. Okay, where am I? Yeah, chat, right? Okay, so in this article, one of them is first one is agentic AI. That's okay, but we do have something like agentic AI at scale, then scaling AI for enterprise value. There are 2 articles which I have wrote, so that may be answering some of your points, right? We are talking about enterprise AI, but if you ask me the keywords, what are the things? The trust factor. What can I do the real trust of what the Gen AI is or agentic AI is doing? Then scalability, then robustness aspects, then personalization. How much of personalization I can do for my localized information, and definitely the cost. Cost may not be the top one, but these are the keywords. But some of the details you can have a look at the article and then we can discuss further. So one more question I'll take and then go further. I think one more. Yeah, Chandrasekhar.
Sure. So the technological advances are generally non-linear, right?
Yes.
So unable to.
What is the comment?
So unable to imagine what ASI looks like, and is there anything which is already happening in the space?
Yeah, ASI is too far. So maybe some people are silently doing is we are just talking about AGI now, because ASI will have beyond the technology, what will happen to the humanity, what is the value of the society, right? So by the time if AGI itself is taking away a lot of our jobs, right? So then what the people will do? Elon Musk says, okay, everybody no need to work, right? Just enjoy whatever you want. That's the kind of comment he gives when someone posed this question, right? So, but it will have its own parity issues and how people will be able to adopt, or they put guardrail. Just like think of the anthropic advancements, especially when it happens to this military system or maybe these banking systems. They're not trying to if you put it into the general availability, it is going to be much more problematic, right? So it will be a weapon for the other people to bring down the systems, what's existing, right? Everybody knows there will be loopholes. It's not like security proof and all. But if you see on the other side, that's why they are not, right now, I think they are not making it available to the public. So this is just one sample, right? So ASI, it is difficult to imagine as well. There's more like it's a supreme power. It is going to be in terms of taking over the humans. But do we allow that as a humans, right? So, and just think of it, some examples are they themselves are talking each other and writing their own OS, and they are not going to obey they means that robots or maybe the agents, if they are not ready to listen to us, if it creates its own army, what will happen? So this is what the ASI, so you might have seen in some kind of science fictions, but we should never lose the control of it, right? That's definitely the part of it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I think I have seen one more hand by Leon or someone, so you can go ahead and then I'll take to the next one.
Yeah, thank you. So you excuse me, you kind of touched on it with the last comment, but I think if it took us 50 years to get to this point, and I think a lot of the development, the human impact, the physical human impact was not seen like we are going to see as we transition to the AGT in the next 5 years, if that's how long it takes. And I use the example of data centers working in construction. I'm blown away in the US by there's over 400 data centers being built throughout the US, and the impact on people, resources, etc., to advance to the next level for all of these tools that we are looking to use is I think now you're going to see society pushing back a little bit because it's physically going to impact people, either land, water, those types of resources.
Yeah, definitely.
For the first time, right, we're going to see a split in, and this is, maybe you touched on it with the trust factor, right? People won't trust, and so you'll see polarization for the people that want advancement and the people that probably are going to resist advancement.
Resist.
Just
Yeah.
again, my thoughts, but
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that your comment and coming from the rich experience of your knowledge, right? So as of now, those open points are still there. One more analogy I'll give it to you and Vin when you are asking how much time it takes, right? Take example of autonomous cars. Some of you are joining from US, and now some percentage of the rights, maybe I didn't know the exact number, maybe 1%, 2% of the rights are going with the autonomous cars as we speak now. But it took roughly around 20 years. I still remember maybe in 2015, 2016, almost like or even, during that time only. So maybe 10 plus years ago, seeing in Silicon Valley, the Google office and some of the research in Stanford, it used to be a science fiction because 10 plus years ago. So there are a lot of experiments these companies, large companies do with whether it will come really on road, right? Even though fifth level of autonomy of the autonomous cars is still a question in terms of the legal aspect, but the technology wise, as long as you are following the rules, right? In some places in a busy road, it will be difficult to get it into the complete autonomous thing because other people may not follow the rules, right? But otherwise, it took almost like 20 years to go and think through autonomous cars on road, and it has passed through the business value, it has passed through the legal aspects, but in other countries it is maybe on the way, right? So maybe few countries already have. Keeping that example, will Gen AI will take those many years? No. Agentic AI, Gen AI is much more fast paced now in terms of adoption. But only thing is there are a lot of things which are overriding themselves. By the time you realize, okay, one model is doing good job, the other model, that competition keeps on happening, and beyond a point it's not like really that much difference. But there are other things, just like you talk about the path breaking kind of methodologies, right? So maybe just like DeepSeek, it has created waves maybe an year ago, right? Roughly, so or 1.5 years ago, where it impacted one model. Every day we almost getting some model. Then only one model. Why the stock market in US dipped almost like 8%, at least for the majority of the tech companies, right? So the reason is, okay, what will happen if we are able to get a sophisticated model at a much more cheaper cost? Now also, as you talk about, Leon, if someone innovates, maybe a Nobel Prize level innovation. Right now, we are talking about transformers. Some of you might not even heard of it, but we will make sure we will cover those things. Some of you are started using it, which is the basis for this Gen AI. My betting is there will be some more methodologies like Transformer 2.0, 3.0, which may not require these many data centers. So right now it is all circular money. If you talk about what's happening, NVIDIA investing in these companies and those companies investing back. So that is a different debate altogether from economical aspects. We will see maybe towards the end of the sessions, sometimes not in the primary slot. But this is important for us to understand with the technology. I appreciate all your thoughts, what you are talking about. And then I'm using one word in diffusion. So even I have given this a talk 2 weeks ago in a business school, ISB here. Where I was talking about the similar thought process where with the present technology of scheme of things and we have enough problems to diffuse, right? So, but we need to have a lot of leaders like you to think through what are the real problems to solve. How do you use the technology? How do you put the governance around that? That's the need of the hour. And as the technology is going on, it's not like running behind every small change which is happening, but we will be mindful on what's path breaking and then how do you adapt that. So that's the last point here I'm talking about before I give you a structure of what we are able to go forward. So Atif, you have a question?
More of a comment.
Yes, please.
I agree with what you're saying. I really appreciate that. But at the same time, looking back at what technologies, there were some technologies that were predicted. If you remember Knight Rider, that was a self-driving car from 80s.
Yes.
And then Back to Future predicted flying cars. So flying car might come true in a few years, but it hasn't come true.
Yes.
And then there were some technologies that did come true and they were reversed. Concorde.
Yes.
It was too noisy, too expensive, too much impact on resources. So I think I agree, going back to the original point, technology has to grow, but unless we put the proper guardrails and governance in place, it can cause backlash and reverse the tide.
Yeah, definitely. And we will touch upon some of those in the Gartner hype cycle as well, because just on the AI only I'm talking about. Some technologies may take a long time. By the time it may reach to the maturity, we may even take some other technologies to take over, right? So we will see that aspects. First, thanks for your comments. So then let's go into a brief of what we are going to do today onwards for the next 15 sessions. I'll give you maybe take another 10-15 minutes on that. This is how we structured. And then I'll tell you objective for each of them, including the course objectives. And then how are we talking about in terms of the assessment as well. I'll give you the timelines point of it. I may need to change. Don't worry on that part. So this one, as we speak before this, going into the assessment part, let's understand what are the objectives for each of the session. Today we are already into the introduction of Gen AI. We are sharing even before defining what is Gen AI, because most of you have a basic understanding. We are able to address what are the different challenges and then how we want to take it forward. I appreciate all your thoughts in the last 15-20 minutes as well. But we will go in a structural way once we complete this part, so that everybody, because some of you, when I take your intro, some of you are already using it, right? Gen AI in an enterprise level, and someone wants to build even SLM level as well. Some of you are very new. So to keep or do justice for each of you, we will have some background in terms of this is what the Gen AI is, this is how it is differentiated between Gen AI and whatever you learned so far, machine learning, deep learning. Now we are in a hype cycle where everything we want to define it as a Gen AI problem, not really required, right? We do have enough problems to solve even today with deep learning and machine learning at a production level in much more cost efficient way. So as a leader, how do you divide those things, right? That's important for us. Then we will give some history in terms of this and where we are heading. Some things already we are talking in terms of ANI, ASI, or AGI. Then what data can we generate? So these are all generative data, right? So what is generative model is already about, even though we concentrate more on the text related or LLM and all, majority of the sessions in the module, but we try to touch upon even coding, images, beyond text as well. So ideally we have 15 sessions. Usually for last few batches, I'm able to take one extra session, but this time it is very tight as per the GGU schedule. So I don't have any luxury, they say. So that's why I need to squeeze in. Total you get 50 sessions, out of which 2 will go into the presentations towards the end. That leaves only 13 sessions. Within that 13 session also, we try to balance 3 sessions will be for your lab. The entire session will be practice. So that leaves only 10 sessions for us in terms of the proper theory like this or concept point of it. And then understanding the real world applications point of view, right? So then I need to squeeze in the 11 sessions into the 10 sessions, what I'm doing from past few cohorts. What I will do typically is, even though it is more like maybe in between we may take 10 minutes kind of a break, but usually even though we are almost like 2 or 40 minutes, if it is convenient for most of you, maybe another 10 minutes we can extend, so that but I'll keep it optional because you are all working professional. Towards the end, what I will talk may not be core topic, but some of the questions what you are asking, or maybe some of the extensions what I want to cover. Roughly 3-hour session is what you can think of, including 10 minutes a break, if it is convenient for you. So is it possible, or because you are coming from different time zones? I won't force that, but just a suggestion. Okay. So for other people who have any constraint in terms of time and all, don't worry. You can log off at the prescribed time, and then you can just follow the 10 minutes of recording thing. So usually I'll keep some optional topics or towards the end, some more explanations, applications only towards the end. That I can promise.
Professor, additionally, one suggestion, if it is possible, like if you feel that some more concepts need to be learned, like you can record them as a video and add as a resources, so that like we will go through and ask questions in the subsequent section.
Yeah, definitely. That is also a good point. Yeah, someone, Suvir identified, maybe I am editing the previous decks, right? So naturally some slippages will happen here. So this is actually Saturday and the next one will be Sunday. Yeah. Okay, I'll take care of that. Thanks for bringing that. Okay, so then let me go into those aspects further. Where are
One
we
more
here?
question.
Yeah.
The 15th of August, we have a session, right?
15th of August, we have a session that will be mostly a presentations kind of a thing. We'll go there. So I'm going to talk each of the session though. So to each of the session, you have an objective to achieve. So, but today by end of the session, our objective is to understand the common background in terms of GenAI. Some people may know it, but little more detailed way. This is what the GenAI, this is how it differentiates with respect to machine learning, deep learning, and then how we use some kind of a technical terms also we use beyond this the Gartner hype cycles. Then tomorrow we'll focus more on applications, because why we are talking about applications before even jumping into the internal details of it, right? Because you are all business leaders trying to understand the GenAI application. So I'll talk about some of the horizontal and vertical applications as well. Before that, we'll give you how the investments are going, because some of you can see from a financial lens and they share your perspectives as well. That's what the focus for tomorrow. Then next week, we will focus on LLMs and engineering. So what is LLM? Large language model. As an abbreviation, everybody may be knowing it. Or even kids at home are started using, right? So it's not really the challenge about the usage, but for us, we don't want you to be an advanced users, right? That is just one way to look into. But can you solve the real enterprise AI level problems? And then can you choose, okay, why out of hundreds of such LLMs available, what makes you to choose one? And then while you are working with your engineering leaders or maybe your product leaders, right? What kind of points you want to consider there? And then why it is not easy to build a foundational model. I'll talk about that, because we are talking on engineering. I'll take maybe 15-20 minutes with a simple Excel, taking different LLMs, and then why it takes, let's say, an year or even more with the huge investments, why people are building these many data centers, right? So I'll give you a simple exercise there by what I do in terms of calculating for one or two, at least one we will do within the session. Then you can estimate yourself. That will give you a segue into in future if you want to build anything on your SLM, small language model. So what is the typical hardware estimation? So that kind of objective we'll try to fulfill there. There we will have a lot of proprietary models, open source models, when to choose what, how do you select those models? And then what are all the different model sources, what you have. So that gives you an engineering perspective of LLM for a business leader. Then on the fourth session, we will talk about fine-tuning LLMs. Then we talk about some of the terms which you keep hearing, like prompt engineering, then parameter efficient fine-tuning. So those things we will touch upon. And then continue with vector databases and RAG, retrieval augmented generation. In each of these, when I talk about what is that, why is that required, where you need to use it. Once you understand this prompt engineering, RAG, parameter efficient fine tuning kind of techniques, in what typically this is the order, right? Prompt engineering, RAG, and PFT in terms of the complexity. But when do you use what, right? So that kind of tips also, we will take different examples and try to help you out. So when you go further on that, what we will do here is by the time you complete your examples, right? Yeah. So 19th and 26th, those 2 Sundays, you will get lab sessions on what we covered previously, especially from the prompt engineering and RAG. Your individual assignment is also based on those. If you want to extend further on PEFT, this and all, perfectly fine, right? Because some of you are already experienced, but some of them are having or touching the basics now, right? So the minimum expectation is everybody is comfortable with prompt engineering and RAG. And if you want to apply further on the other new techniques like PEFT, perfectly fine as well. On top of it, I'll take 2 sessions on 25th and then 1st, where we talk about little more deep dive of the deep learning. So whatever you know from RNN, so the journey of it, I'll try to touch base in the next slides, how you will be able to connect from your RNN till your transformers. What is the flow there, right? So then we'll talk about attention mechanism, transformers. To what extent do I need to know? So some of you say, I have 30 years of experience and I'm the business leader. Do I need to really understand how the transformer works? we don't really require to understand the mathematics behind that, but conceptually, if you are able to understand why it is creating waves, like earlier, and now if some new, let's say, innovations come, my betting is on the Transformer 2.0. Already some people talk about it, but it's still last 1 year, it is trying to figure it out, what real applications it can solve in a much more efficient way. It takes time. It's not like suddenly disrupting tomorrow some model is coming. It takes time to prove it and people needs to adopt it. That's the reason in a structured way, we'll try to understand from your deep learning. Till RNN, I'm sure you have understanding in deep learning. Is my understanding correct?
Yes.
Yeah, LSTM, little bit of LSTM, RNN.
Yes.
Then on top of it, I'll try to go into encoder decoders and I'll put a structure anyway for you in next few minutes. That's what we will focus on 25th. And then first we'll continue those further and then going into the LLM level, encoder decoders, then how really the conversational systems work in a ChatGPT. PFT I was trying to cover, if at all I'm not able to cover in the prompt engineering. So I can cover even the RLHF point of view, because here I don't have any extra session point of it. Sometimes we need to squeeze in, even though I'm not pushy usually from my style. Okay, just for the sake of it, if I complete it, that will not be adding value. So I can give right references once I complete the major part. That also we can do. Then we go into the 2nd August, where once you understand these things, ideally, if you ask me, if I don't have the dependency of these assignments and all, this deep learning and the LLMs, I could have covered even before this prompt engineering and RAG. But just I swapped it so that you will get enough time for your assignments. Assignments, even next week itself, I'll be able to start giving it, right? But the point is, by the time you reach to the end of the month, like 19th and 26th, you should be in a comfortable position to do those activities. And I'll tell you anyway. Next week, we'll go into the details. Today, I'll be able to give you the brief in terms of what is the background of those assignments, how we are evaluating you, right? And that also we learned from the experience of your previous cohorts. Earlier, I used to have 2 small assignments or maybe individual assignments in one group. That is becoming too much within the time frame what we have, right? So we also learn from there, and that's what we'll talk anyway in next few minutes. But before that, if you see from a 2nd August, you understand these individual components, how really those GenAI components are working from Transformer, then what are the foundational models, why we need to have this prompt engineering RAG or PEFT, why can't I build my own model just like your deep learning transfer learning? I'll be able to answer most of your questions. And once you are convinced on that, how the project lifecycle really works. What are LLM ops? You may already have LLM ops or ML ops team in your organization. How do you take it to the LLM ops? Then I'll touch base even the agent ops as well. So because I'll be touching the agentic AI, even in my articles also I have given the journey towards the agentic AI in my recent keynote. So some of the aspects we are covering within the session, you already have good background of machine learning, deep learning, we are building on top of that, right? So, but wherever the opportunity is there, how do you extend that ML ops to LLM ops to agent ops? I'll talk about that. So then how do you think the Gen AI for your enterprise? We will concentrate on more on the enterprise AI because most of you are either entrepreneurs or maybe working in the big organizations. I'll take a pause after covering this if you have any more expectations beyond this. Then last 2 sessions, we will talk about, some of you are talking about governance and then a lot of ethical aspects or fairness, bias, transparency, robustness, right? So we will talk about those risks, ethics, and compliance in one session, maybe whatever the 2.5 3 hours. But it will be a continuation aspects for the responsible AI topic as well. So that is one what we cover there. Then the last one, beyond text and agentic AI. So beyond text means, okay, today I'm going to touch upon some of the GANs, generative adversarial networks, right? So hopefully we'll cover some aspects to save time during that time to touch upon. So because I do have 1-2 slides in terms of, usually I'll cover at a very high level and leave it, but depending on the time what we have, based on your interactions. And then if you still have time, I'll be trying to cover some methods, right, to start with, and then try to connect it later and see the business value comparison and all. that will save some time for us there. That squeezed time, I should be able to use it for your agentic AI. By default, they are not part of it. That's optional. But because of the, I'm not feeling comfortable without touching the agentic AI because you don't have any separate session there. It is always good at least to touch upon how Gen AI to agentic AI transition is happening. What are the real challenges there? How you can address that, right? I'll be able to cover within the available time. Rest of them I can give some references to follow up further. That includes the methods from beyond text, includes the diffusion models, GANs, some of the introductory aspects I'll cover even today. Then 15th and 16th, we will have the, anyway, towards the evening only, final presentations of the assignment 2. Okay. So then the only thing we swapped the lab session of last one because you have a deadline of 22nd to complete it. And then if I split 15th and 16th, it won't be able to, sorry, 16th and 22nd for the some session, some people may get 1 week extra. That may not be fair. So majority of the aspects what we are covering will be good enough for you to do the final assignment. That's where 15th and 16th. But the 22nd, you can ask Dr. Vinay as well. I will also put a word. Don't limit only to the end-to-end applications of Gen AI. Can we extend that to some kind of an agent as well? So that's how we will plan the available 15 sessions. But I'm open if you are able to see any gaps based on your understanding, any further things which you know, okay, some aspects I know already. Can you squeeze in other topics on that? Any of those also fine. Let me take a pause. Yeah, Niyaz, you have a question.
Professor, given the next subject is going to be responsible AI, and can we minimize the ethical part of it and devote it to agentic AI? Just a question.
Yeah. So because I am focusing more on the Gen AI aspects of it because it's very, very important there. If I'm able to extend that agentic AI aspects of the ethical aspects, I'll definitely do that. So, but that's a good point, right? So I can squeeze in because agentic AI, I can squeeze in that aspect. If you're able to finish, because usually I'm flexible that way. I have a specific objective for each of them. If you are able to follow well, and if I'm able to squeeze in any of the time, I have enough things to cover. Even another 15 sessions, if you have, we have enough content to cover, right? So, but we need to prioritize what is important. But your point is taken. Yeah, Prince.
So for the 15th and 16th, due to some reason, some personal work, I won't be available. So in that case, in that case, how I
How
would
do you
be able
manage?
to present? Yeah.
So sometimes it will happen because it's a group assignment, right? So it's not like maybe some emergency of the 1 or 2 people, even if it is not there, other people can represent you. It should not be a problem.
Perfect. Thank
So
you, sir.
that's a group thing, right? And we can take that. It's a group activity.
Thank you.
Okay. So otherwise here we don't have too much of luxury. Usually they'll give one buffer day. They have not given this time. It's a challenge for me as well. But you will have option to have your group represented. Yeah. Any further questions? Anything else we are missing from your expectations? Most of you talked about your aspirations and expectation as well. If I miss anything, how do I squeeze in is my headache, but you can tell this is what I am expecting further, right? So that will also help me to think through what else I can do. Are we good with the flow? Any open questions before we move further? Okay. If there are no questions, let me go into the assignment parts. I'm just checking here. This is 14th. I'm just checking the dates as we speak. Yeah. So you are getting roughly the timeline point of it. So individual assignment, you will be able to get 26. So at least you will get okay, at least 2nd August or 8th August. We can put, we will see. 2nd August is what the target should be. And I'm going to release that in July itself. What is the next week date? Let me see here. Both the assignments will release, and then let me tell you the objective of each of them, then it will be easy for you. At least from a sequence, you got it now, what we are talking. Okay. Okay, if you don't have other questions here, if your expectations are covered, let me go to the assessment structure. Can you see this slide, assessment thing?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the round of it, and then I'll release it in a week from now. So by the time you will understand what we are talking about, and then we'll be able to share it to you, and then discuss it in 11th. That means a week from now, and then you can start your work. You don't require to wait till your lab sessions are starting. That may be taking 1 or 2 more weeks. But the point is, we will have an individual assignment, which is 60% weightage, and final assessment is around 40% weightage. Is a group assignment. You will form, if you already formed groups, you can work with your program manager to see how things are. Then first, maybe we have what we are trying to cover here is I'm going to give a detailed walkthrough of it next week, but at a high level, the objective is individually you are taking a problem. Okay. We will also give you some 10 problems. You can take it from there, or you want to have your own problem statement from your domain. That's perfectly fine. So ultimately, you individually trying to apply any of these foundational models with the help of prompt engineering or the RAG-based thing, or if you want to go further with advanced method, perfectly fine. But those are the 2 things. And then you are able to demonstrate as it's an implementation level, right? And you will be able to get to Azure, or I am usually fine whether whatever the environment you choose, but at the end you are trying to choose in terms of this is the problem I'm able to solve, and then we'll have some page limits so that you will be mindful in terms of what you are trying to solve, how you are able to give those results, right? That is the first part of it. So what we are evaluating that if you take a small business problem within your organization, are you thinking what kind of techniques will be working for you? And you are talking about using that to solve that subset of the problem is the objective in the assignment or individual assignment. And we are not expecting too much of coding this and all, but depending on your background, if you want to do with the coding or maybe no code, low code tools, that's perfectly fine for us. Then the final assignment, we will release it on the same day itself, and you can you will have good amount of time, more than a month, right? Because 15th, 16th is the presentations, just 15th is the date what we are keeping there, or I can keep time till 15th also, no issues, depending on your time zone. But you are trying to present it, and then you are going to have a presentation, and we will evaluate, right? So that's a group assignment. What is the difference here is, a small problem you are trying to solve as an individual, now you are amplifying it in a business case level. You are all business leaders, right? What bigger problem am I trying to solve, and whether you may be implementing, not implementing. Some people are able to implement much more faster way and then able to demonstrate as well. That's perfectly fine. Otherwise also, are you thinking of a solution architecture? Are you thinking of what are the real problems? What are the challenges, just like you are asking to implement it, right? So whether you may not get time for a complete implementation is okay, but you are giving the blueprint, and then what are the practical challenges you will have. Those things we are talking from a group assignment. So once I share, you will get more points there, but the objectives you should understand. Everybody, irrespective of the background, whether you use GenAI or not, you should be able to solve a small problem with a no code, low code, and a bigger business aspect, maybe present it to some VCs, right? So that's the idea with the assessment structure. So any further question on this so far in terms of logistics, in terms of the coverage, in terms of what we are evaluating? Do we need to use Azure? Yeah, Azure is the one which we will give it to you during the practice sessions. But that doesn't mean that is the only tool you are forced to use it during your assignments. I'll leave it to you. No issues. So Simon, I don't have a problem. So if those logistics usually I will not involve. So that's the program office will take care. If you're already good with those groups, everybody, just go ahead. Just I need how many groups are there so that we will plan the sessions towards the end. I'm good. Okay. So before we go to this brief overview kind of a thing, first, this particular session, as of now, it's just like an icebreaker and then trying to give it to you. It may be light so far, but maybe the rest of the session may not be that light. So we will use little jargons and try to not push you too much on the day one itself, but at the same time, it's my duty to use the available time to make sure you are understanding some concepts little more depth as well, right? We will go to that. But before that, let me summarize in the last almost like 1 hour, 20 minutes, what we have done. So first 20 minutes also, you are able to give your background that helped me in terms of picking the right examples while I'm speaking, understand what time zones you are and what background you have on those. Some of you are already using it in your enterprise thing. So I keep inviting some specific slots on that particular topic. If you want to voice over your experience, which may be useful for the cohort, we will try to do it as well. At the same time, we do have understanding in terms of what each session objective is. And we even talked about ANI, AGI, ASI, how much time it may take to reach each of them, right? So those aspects we talked about so far. Then in the rest of the session, I am going to talk on what is Gen AI, some more history of it, linking to machine learning, deep learning, what is the real difference, then use some more technical aspects like diffusion models or GANs. Hopefully we'll have enough time for those. Okay. At this stage, if I take a pause, any comments, questions before we take a short break? Is the pace okay? Are you able to follow me? Any challenges in that? Okay, most of you giving some thumbs up. Perfect. Sure. Is a 10 minutes break good enough for you? Usually?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So if you're good so far, just have a quick 10 minutes break, depending on your time zone, whether you want to have a coffee, tea, or a dinner. So please go ahead and I'll be back in 10 minutes. And then we'll go into a little more depth of this Gen AI. Thank you. Sorry, it took a little more time. So maybe next time onwards, I'll give 2 more minutes extra if required. So are you back?
Yes, Professor.
Yeah. So hopefully we had some good break to refresh yourself and then start digesting the next set of information. Sure. So where we left off is the brief overview of Gen AI. And especially we'll talk about their deep learning background, what changed with the ChatGPT thing. So here I can tell you in terms of the journey from your deep learning. So we'll start with the deep learning aspects, which you already have good understanding. Then within the deep learning, there are feed-forward networks and recurrent neural networks. After that, there is LSTM. Till that point, you have some background on that. We'll try to refresh if required. Then we do talk about the encoder-decoder architectures, where LSTM is an integral part of it. So that we can call it as even sequence-to-sequence models as well. Then after that, we do have attention mechanism. From there, we will go into transformers. From transformers, we will go into GPTs and even BERT models. So some of them are encoder-only models. Some of them are like GPT is only decoder model. Why we will call those things, we will talk about. And then how we will go into the agentic AI from there, right? So these are all the Gen AI aspects. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe here it is 5 attention, 6 transformers, 7, the 8 BERT kind of a thing, and the journey continues with the agentic AI, right? So agentic AI also using this only, but only thing is I'm talking about AI agents as the next step, right? Using these only. So out of these, first 3 steps is what you are familiar with. We will touch base on that. Then continue. So these things will come typically from our in the middle of the session though, because we are not starting with very foundations, but we will talk about what is really required for you to understand using the foundational models, why those are important, what are the applications, how do you use the foundation models using this prompt engineering, and then RAG is what we covered. After that, we will go into this just to, as I mentioned to you, to balance within the available time. Otherwise, I could have started in the 3rd session itself after applications with these. But we will try to cover these so that you are all comfortable understanding the depth, what is required for this kind of a course. If you are really interested in a little more deep dive into the coding aspect or maybe some more mathematical aspect, I will give you enough of the references. At this stage, if I ask you a question, right, you have good understanding of machine learning, deep learning so far, and then going to learn further because those are foundations for us. If someone asks you what is the difference between a machine learning and a deep learning, in one line, you need to tell me. So what will be your answer? If you want to voice over, feel free to unmute. If you want to type, your convenience.
If there is a hidden layer in the logic, then we consider as deep learning. So especially with more than the input layer and the output layer, we introduce intermediate variables driven by the deep learning.
That is more of more than 2 hidden layers. That is more on how part of it, because by the time you are assuming already the people know about these neural layers, then there is input output, then you are just defining there's a good definition of deep learning, right, on top of neural networks. But I'm comparing machine learning versus deep learning. So if you want to elaborate further. Your answer is very good fit. If I ask a neural network versus a deep learning, what is the difference? Yeah, then more than 2 hidden layers are there. So that's an extension of the neural network. That's a deep learning. I appreciate that.
So if we are not having an understanding of how to solve the problem, and if we want the algorithm itself to find out the features and the methods, then
that's a good point. So feature extraction is one good point. Even so, where also your answer is also fine. We use ML for small data sets, and if you don't have bigger data sets, maybe we may not be able to use deep learning. That is also one way of answering it. But I'll go with this kind of approach if I summarize just one liner, right? So in case of, anyway, deep learning is a subset of machine learning. People start giving answers. Okay, this is a subset of machine learning. We use neural networks. That's all fine. But a fundamental difference aspect, if you are talking about, in case of machine learning, we are doing the feature engineering by ourselves. Whereas in the deep learning, we are saying that is optional. If you want to make a model much more let's say robust, and then we don't want to, without feature engineering also you can build. So that's fundamentally different. The difference is in machine learning, we want the feature extraction to be done, then the modeling aspect will come. Whereas in deep learning, that is optional. So that's the one line of difference. But in practice, yeah, people, if you want to do some kind of a feature engineering, that definitely mainly you remember the CLP to reduce the cost, to do faster in your domain knowledge, to those aspects. Then one more point, if I try to ask you, those are all the traditional way of, and another, I'm assuming by this time everybody will agree. I have not started drawing it, but let me make sure without any assumptions. If the AI is a bigger umbrella like this, then machine learning, then deep learning, then the Gen AI is a small portion in that. Do you agree with this? AI, machine learning, deep learning, the last one can be Gen AI. So that kind of a view, everybody agrees?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfectly fine, right? So, but only thing is with the present scheme of things, everything people think of, okay, it's a Gen AI thing. Even now, yes, Gen AI can be used for some kind of a image classification, but do we really need a Gen AI to do that? That kind of a question naturally comes because that is also a probabilistic kind of a system. Then it costs tokens to do that. If really the performance is very good, then I'm not stopping it, right? But otherwise, just think through in terms of what kind of applications still can be solved with traditional way once you understand the deep dive of the Gen AI part. So as Suvir was mentioning, yes, I'm saying deep learning, the feature and extraction is optional or we don't require, but at what cost? If that is the case, if our life is becoming simple, I don't require to do a feature engineering, everybody needs to go to the deep learning only. Then I don't think machine learning will be part of your course if that is true. We can start with deep learning itself. Machine learning is outdated kind of thing, but that's not true. Even as I speak, last year also, I even deployed some ensemble models of the machine learning in the production. I'm talking about 2025, right? So at what cost, right? Because deep learning demands more data. At the cost of data, it is giving you the luxury of, okay, not much of feature extraction required. I will extract that or I will learn the features. Just one more line I will add and then close that difference so that you are clear on that. What is so big deal? Deep learning is a subset of the machine learning. Yes, another method of it. We know SVM, we know decision tree, and now it is a neural network. But that's not that simple. It changed the game of, especially, let's say, take example of CNN. Everybody understands CNN? Convolutional neural networks.
Yes, we have studied in the lab.
Yes. Yes. So now if you see the digital image processing is also old, like 40 years, 50 years, all that, the traditional image processing, then digital maybe from past 20, 25 years. The fundamental difference is maybe 20 years ago when I see before this deep learning taking over some of these activities, people used to do PhDs to create the filters because whether it's a low pass filter, high pass filter, specific filter, that for these image filters, that's an art. And then that the people do the research for a couple of months and doing PhDs, patents to create the filters. That's what the traditional way of doing it, even in the feature extraction with those filters, which completely changed with the deep learning, saying now that is no more a skill. You give me the all diversified data. I will try to create those filters. Filters are nothing but your two-dimensional weights. Okay. Fundamentally, somebody is doing research and doing spending months and years together to create those filters. Suddenly, the path game changed in terms of, okay, let the filters learn by itself if you have the data. Are you able to appreciate that fact? or anyone to challenge back?
Yes.
We're able to understand, right? Perfectly fine. So now I just touch based in the last few minutes, not completely new for you, but I'm trying to give you the connectivity to this. It's not like completely new topic. At the same time, you do have, yes, machine learning to deep learning, you know the difference. And how do we go from deep learning to the transformers? Not we are not jumping today itself on in that, but maybe after a few sessions. But you will appreciate, yes, when the term comes, I'll double click what the transformers and all, but those are the basis for our foundational models. That much we will be able to appreciate so far. Then if you see in terms of race to release LLMs, now I'm just giving an analogy in the first 1 year of its journey, right, of this Gen AI. But we can talk about what's happening after that and how the Gartner hype cyclists are trying to capture that. Those important points we will talk. But if you highlight this, I'm not starting with your deep learning history. Everybody knows, hopefully, from your deep learning knowledge, the perceptrons and all 1950s, and then the backpropagation algorithms is also from Geoffrey Hinton. Maybe that is also 50 plus years old. On top of it, Yanlook and CNN comes. Then ImageNet changed the game, and then Ashwa's student is coming up with the GANs. So at least whatever I made the statement so far, right? Is there anything which I need to elaborate further? Are we good? Because this is what from your historical deep learning. Anything you heard for the first time by any chance? Not really, right? Okay. So at any time, if you feel I'm over assuming, or maybe it's still not fresh in your mind, maybe you heard of it, please feel free to alert me. But I'm just connecting those things because those are the basis for me when I'm talking about these things. So if I go further on that, so yes, December 2022, we have the ChatGPT and it created waves, and then as a first killer application of Gen AI. Even Gen AI historically also, it's not like 2022 is the Gen AI born. I claim I am working in Gen AI from past 10 plus years, even though this is only 3-4 years old from the killer application. Why? Because all the basis for this, whether it is some kind of synthetic data generation using GANs, I used almost like 2016-17 time frame, these GANs. What do you mean by GANs? And what is so special about that? I'll just talk in a few minutes from now. Okay, so the basis were there a couple of years ago. And then we are talking about the killer application from last 3 years, or maybe now 4 years, you can say 3.5 years. Then the race is still on, even though I'm talking about little old, the Google Bard and all. Now you are talking about Gemini, or let me ask you, what are the top models competing with each other in the world? So let's say from foundational. What do you mean by foundational model? Also, I will talk about. But when you think of LLMs, large language models, okay, so there's nothing but your foundational models. What comes to your mind? If I ask you what are the top 3 things comes to your mind, as these are the top models for me. Let's take some samples from you if you are working on that, because you don't require to be a professional user for talking about it. It can be a regular user for your day-to-day activity as well. Let's see what kind of responses I'll get.
Yeah, Claude models is very sophisticated.
Claude.
Yeah.
Okay, Claude models. Now they released the Sonnet 5, but otherwise Opus, then Sonnet 4.5, 4.6. Yes, Claude models. Then Gemini. And when I'll say Perplexity point of it, they are not in the race of these foundational models. They are creating the wrappers. Earlier, this Mr. Arvind from Perplexity, he's in the game of these, but now he's not into that race of it. Right. So, but it is giving you a wrapper, and then the one big change it has done is giving the references, right? Just like his PhD style of it, or maybe in your DBA style. When you pick something and then displaying or maybe summarizing or rewriting, you are giving that reference also. And everybody started adopting later on. That's the value add from Perplexity. Otherwise, that's not the foundational models. But Claude, I will agree. Claude also specifically Sonnet or Opus or Haiku. Then Gemini. What else? 2 of you responded. Thank you. Anyone more sampling?
What about Qwen?
Oh, yeah, Qwen models are good. Okay, just like your DeepSeek, Qwen models are good. Okay, so some of you who are completely new, you may be wondering what it is. Don't worry at all. But at least everybody knows the GPTs, chat GPTs, or maybe copilots, right? So the basic ones of the LLM, that knowledge is good enough. Okay, rest of them we will be able to build. And then Llama is very good. And NotebookLM is not a foundational model, Peter, but that is a application of it in terms of especially summarizing the research papers or articles. That's a specific application of it from a NotebookLM. Llama is a very good one, especially from localized models. I will go into the details of it. I'll take a pause at this stage on these models because some models, what you talked about, is open source. Some of them are closed proprietary source. So, but one key takeaway from the last 1 minute of exercise is, it's not like one clear winner. If that is the case, entire thing I can talk about you that, and then okay, you master it. You are good with that, right? We are not reaching that stage. I don't think we'll reach that stage very soon as well. So each of them have their own, let's say, advantages and even challenges as well. Okay. Yeah, merging to challenge with the Fable 5, interesting, Simone. Okay. So now the key takeaway here is the top companies, even by the way, in 2022 and 23, in this particular, you won't see the Claude as well. Okay, in the last 2 years, they picked up very well, Anthropic, right? Otherwise, initially the race wise, we need to give even the Anthropic, OpenAI, they are becoming these many, this much big companies challenging the bigger giants as well, right? Within the 4 or 5 years of their existence. That's an interesting thing. But the point is, who will win the race? Let's wait and see. I don't have any specific prediction per se here, but I'll give you 2 inputs there. When we are talking about this, just to refer one Paris event in Feb 2023, in competition to ChatGPT, the Google is trying to give one Google I/O, one live demo. It was not really reaching the expectations of the users. Just a simple demo. That itself has impacted economically 8% of shares fallen. For what? This is like a regular event in I/O. Most of the demos work, maybe 1 or 2 may not work to the expectations. But the point is, the future of Gen AI, what is going to happen? Is it in the race, the traditional company like Google? These are the questions which were raised. And it is also giving good competition with Gemini. Even the other Microsoft is also anyway touched base with the present scheme of things. And then we do talk about a lot of advances in terms of these Microsoft or even the AWS with the cloud as well, right? But at this stage, I'll focus on one more point where there are things, especially from OpenLetter or Geoffrey Hinton leaving Google. So Geoffrey Hinton, Jan LeCun, Ashwa, these are the Turing Award winners, which is equal to the Nobel Prize in computer science. Okay. So those are the people, okay, Geoffrey Hinton contributed to this backpropagation and very fundamental ones. And then he's part of Google. Then similarly, Jan LeCun, who is father of CNN, he's part of Facebook, is still there. I think maybe he also came out very recently. So while they are coming out of these legends, their comment is they can freely express their concerns because they don't wear that particular specific organization hat, right? Otherwise, they are professors. Geoffrey Hinton is from from Canada, and from New York University is Jan LeCun, right? So keeping that background, once he leaves, what he's alerting these days, especially if you follow any of his news, he's worried about the negative impacts of the AI. What will happen? AGI is still far away for him, but still within the activities what we are doing, how much is going to help from a humanity at the end, right? These kind of questions also come to our mind. And then there are things in terms of Altman of OpenAI talking about the Senate hearing and all. So there are cases, by the way, on Google and OpenAI, whether they used any in New York court, claiming that, okay, they have violated the copyright laws. That we will discuss little more details in our risks and ethics kind of the session. Okay. There is a question from Quen. Are Copilot or DeepSeek counted foundational models? Seems like applicate. No, DeepSeek is a foundational model, but Copilot like GitHub Copilot or the Microsoft Copilot are the applications, I'll say, because underlying they will have other foundational. But DeepSeek is a foundational model. We will clarify that. Even if you have any of those doubts, we'll clarify down the line. So before I go into the Gartner hype cycle, are you with me so far? Is the pace okay? In the second half of it, you are able to follow? Am I repeating anything with by boring what you know?
Good enough.
Okay, sure. Yes, Copilot rides on OpenAI because they have a good investment plan there from Microsoft. Yeah. So now, because you are business leaders, I doubt anybody has not seen this kind of a hype cycle. I'll tell you what it is. But is there anyone who is not aware of this Gartner hype cycle? Is there anyone require an explanation what it is? If you say yes, I'll go into the details.
Yes,
Okay.
can you touch upon
Touch upon?
briefly?
Okay. So other business leaders also add your view of doing it. I'll spend 1-2 minutes. If everybody knows, I thought I'll just tell what it is. But because my expectation in the next 10 minutes, if whatever I'm spending here, you should be able to see the hype cycle of, let's say, 2026, whenever it is published in public. So you should see what is the delta in terms of 25 to 26 or 24 to 25. And what is in for us, right? So that's the main purpose. If you see here, there are 5 quadrants, what you have observed here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Any new technology typically follows this kind of a cycle. So this is usually when you type the Gartner hype cycle, this is how these 5 quadrants are represented as a picture. So what does that symbolically represent as is any new technology when it started development, if it is in the bottom of it, just like quantum AI native software engineering, they are not really matured as a POCs to reach to the common media also. So they are very much at this stage. But the one which are closer to this innovation trigger, that means these are the research activities around the world, whether we are doing with with our organizations or the top brains in the world are doing it in the academic setup, perfectly fine. But those are the things which are where the innovation is happening. But what you hear in the general media, where the more attention from the customers or the clients as well, is the second quadrant, peak of inflated expectation. What does that mean is if you see here in 2025 also, there is AI agents, what it is taking the center stage. But another aspect I want you to focus on, while we are talking about these different topics of interest for us, you can associate with one is in which quadrant that particular topic is there. That is important for us. At the same time, how many years it takes to reach to the plateau. If it is a sky blue, it says 2 to 5 years. If it is a dark blue like this, what aspect? That is 5 to 10 years, something like AI simulation world models. That means some universally accepting world models. It will be difficult to build. It may take time, even if at all you are trying to aim for that, right? So there may be some technologies like quantum AI. Quantum itself is taking time to mature, maybe another couple of years. Then we will have more weightage in this quantum AI, right? So, but it is 10 years away, what they are talking about. So if you see these kind of things, what is in for us is we are focusing more on 1 and 2, where if you are part of really R&D kind of a thing, or if you have enough innovation funds, you should focus on what the world is focusing in terms of the R&D aspect. And you should not ignore anything on the second part, because these are the things which people will talk now and then. And then even it will be interesting for us to see in the news or maybe see from a customer point of view what we can do in that space, whether it's AI agents, whether it is AI engineering or responsible AI. You can say responsible AI is within 2 years to make it to the plateau. Okay, so that's where the fifth one is coming, is a plateau of productivity. Was that mean the technology is matured enough to give you a CLP. Remember, at the cost, reasonable cost, and then people are ready to afford for it, and then going for it in production. Okay, so that's where the technology. To give you an example, earlier, if you see 2024, then maybe 20, not even 2024, is it there? Let me see. Yeah, in 2024, there is a computer vision which is in production at a plateau level. I don't think they added that anything in the when it comes to 2025. What does that mean? It's already matured. That means if you have a problem and a real business problem, you can just talk to the person and then close it as well. So, but in between 3 and 4, now I will tell you one more aspect. If you see in 2025, the Gen AI is still taking another 2 to 5 years to reach to plateau. That may be a surprising thing for you. It's not on the top because it is we are talking enough in the last 2 years. Now we reach it to the enterprise level with some close investments. Then how it proves the value? The moment it is there in the third quadrant, what does that mean is the hype is slowly coming down. Let's invest with the right set of tools and topics to cover so that we will be able to reach to this through of disillusionment, and then slowly with some more funding we'll go to the slope of enlightenment. If you're not able to sustain at that level 3 and 4, it can never become plateau. Maybe some other technology can take over. So that's how you need to see any of the Gartner hype cycle. Let me reiterate one specific point. This is the hype cycle for a particular technology. Here it is AI. In what year? 2025. And how these 5 quadrants are spread across with respect to the plateau to be reached. That's how you need to read. And I'll be able to give you some more insights after showing the historical information of that. What is the delta? How things are going to be useful for us, right? That's what we were trying to talk here. One last point there. Yes, now I understand hype cycle. I spent last 5 minutes. So what? What is in for me as a business leader? Some of you already know how to use it, but for all rest of you, depending on your organization priority, if your organization priority at this stage is to get this innovation, I want to be the first in the market, then I need to be definitely in the 1, at least in the mature stage of 1, and then never miss on the 2 part. 1 and 2 is what your concentration is. But if you are trying to scale it up, okay, and then you are trying to take an advantage of scaling, you are not the first one to, but you are mastering the scaling aspect. Then you need to understand the different aspect there. Okay. So that's how, based on the type of role you are playing, if you are scaling up, then maybe 2nd and 3rd is what you are trying to concentrate. Then if you are on the R&D kind of a thing, is what you can concentrate is on the quadrant 1. Let me show it to you before I take a pause. The same thing you can compare. That's exactly the same thing. Some techniques might have changed. For instance, if I draw your attention to one is computer vision, other one where is Gen AI. Gen AI is in the almost in the 2nd quadrant only. Slightly it is able to push to. Next time it went to till this level. That means what? It is matured, but some more push will happen. Again, the CLP. It needs to solve the problem with the minimum cost and with minimum with whatever the performance what we accept. Right. So one more slide I will show it to you in this regard before I jump to the next topic. So even they started giving for Gen AI, Agentic AI also separately. So a Gen AI in 2025, if you see little more detail, Gen AI is just one topic in the previous picture because you are thinking from bigger bigger AI. But here, if you see lot of things you can agree on. These are all the peak of inflated expectation. Agentic AI is still there. On top of it, multimodal Gen AI. Then we do have GraphRag, Model Apps. At least some terminology looks familiar to you. But even if it is new, don't worry. But this is how we'll be able to read a hype cycle and try to agree on what is in for us and able to follow up. I'll take a pause. Is it making sense? Anything else the business leaders want to add? How you are going to use beyond what I told?
Professor, question, please. But I understand that from the hype cycle, it's just telling us when to invest and when to wait, and when we can expect the, let's say, the GA of the product. Is it something like that?
It's more like that. So but unfortunately, we can't wait. Just like 2024 is the computer vision reached to the plateau, but just see the history of it. You remember when the ImageNet challenge was there from your previous experience of deep learning?
Yeah.
ImageNet challenge 2012.
Yeah.
Right. So almost like 12 years we talked about to count as of June 2024, if you are talking about. So doesn't mean that it is not really solving the real problems, but only thing is it took almost like 10 plus years to reach to the maturity of plateau. Similarly, other technology doesn't mean that it take those 12 years as an average, but some of them can be much faster. Some of them can be taking time depending on the use case. So, but your point, but you can't wait and see, then you will be left behind the game, right? That's also another danger.
So, Professor, based on what these kind of years they are putting, like 2 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, based on what?
That is what their research output after reviewing the different research reports based on the investments what the CEOs, CXOs are betting in the Fortune 500 companies. So that's why this kind of getting those levels and then publishing the small image, the subscription is maybe hundreds of dollars. But they might be giving this information in the beginning of the year for the subscribers who paying that whatever the $100, $1,000, whatever their fee, and then by middle of the year. So hopefully, while we speak, if I search, is the 2026 thing at least last few weeks back? I am not aware, but let me search in real time. Gartner hype cycle. You can also do hype cycle of AI for 2026. Is it ready to see it? Agentic AI is there, but not for the full-fledged one. Agentic AI I am able to see. Okay, it will come for the other one as well. But Agentic AI you can see here. I'll show you the link, or I will add it here also. No problem here.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
Professor,
What else? Other question? Please go ahead.
Yeah. So when we say expectation, so what are the factors we consider that a technology will reach to the plateau productivity? So is there anything related with the cost, efficiency of the technology, adaptability, user friendliness? What are the factors that actually derive a technology to reach at a plateau of productivity?
You already touched most of the points, right? So it needs to be cost effective. It needs to be trustworthy. It needs to be going to the masses. It's not like 1-2 companies adopting. I will not say it is adopted, right? It will be in the third or fourth quadrant. It will die down, right? So is it universally being accepted? So those are the main points to reach to the productivity. Getting it?
Perfect.
Okay. So now, yeah, you have a question as well. Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Yes. So regarding so what it means for us when looking at hype cycle is that regarding investment too, right, Professor? Like it's 1, 2, 3 is more like high risk, high return. And then if you are like risk averse, then you should be in 4 or 5. Also, if you don't want to get behind, then you should look at this. That's the most important things about this, right?
Yes, that's exactly the one. So 2 you can't ignore, because whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a head of a business, people keep talking about it because it's keep a lot of conference papers are on those, a lot of media reports are on those, how we are doing. Those you need to be limelight in most of the cases, but unless you are part of R&D, don't touch one, right? Because that is only for the R&D. And as you talk about the risk that means you need to ready. It may be failure as well, right? You are not ready to put that investment. If you are ready to scale it up and trying to do it, then it's a little more mature technologies like 3, 4 to reach to the plateau. Your understanding is correct.
Yes, so it's more like risk management. If you are
Yes,
manager.
you are looking from the risk aspect as well. Yeah, high risk in the first 1 and 2, low risk on the 3 and 4. Yes.
And for this, like this can every year they're just gonna add to this, right, Professor?
Yes, some
It's
can
not gonna
add,
change.
some can remove also. If you just see the delta of it, some new things will come,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
things will go off as well. Some new technology comes, and if it is comes, it will be added, and people are not talking about it. They will change it or they will modify it as well. Yeah, that is possible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so this is the one I added dynamically on the hype cycle for agentic AI. This is the 2026 one, if you see here down the line thing, right? So now again on the agentic AI also, what are the things which are on the hype? Because I can't expect that to be beyond the second half of your second quadrant, right? Because they're still getting mature. So it may take some more time for us to get it into that level. But otherwise, if you are coming from agentic AI background, you can understand something like agentic AI as a one bigger theme, or AI coding agents, or what are the common terms you are familiar with. Enterprise AI assistants, and some of you are interested in the agentic AI security, right? So some of these are examples of agentic AI.
Professor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
may
ahead.
I ask if something does not appear in the HIP curve?
Yeah.
Yeah, from your view, understanding the long history of generative AI so far, do you spot some generative AI innovation once appeared at the peak and down to the bottom and disappeared because it is a failure technology or something else?
Yeah.
All being replaced by the next generation. So can you
Exactly.
share a bit? Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So some of them are very much possible. I'll give you to give you the analogy of that. So I was working on Internet of Things. If you recollect my background, I have not told each and everything there, not to bore you too much though. But the Internet of Things, if you heard of the name, have you heard of the term Internet of Things?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. So it's more like sensor networks, actuation, and all. I'm talking about 2011. Okay, almost like 2010 and 11 time frame, 15 years ago, right? So there, 15 years ago, if you talk about Internet of Things is much more dominating or hyped than AI, right? I don't think AI separate hype cycle is there. It is just an emerging technologies. Out of that, okay, you do have different technologies, including these AI, right? It's just one part of the story. It is not a game changer by that time. Then the MIT estimated during that time, within 10 years, the IoT is going to be pervasive, and then there are individual components of pervasive computing, these and all. It is going to be everywhere, and it is your responsibility to make sure you are securing your information. All right, that kind of hype was there. But slowly, when I started working on both Internet of Things, slowly moved to the AI, what I see there is some of those lot of keywords on the emerging technologies, what people talked about, it does not really making it as a viable thing, and they die down. Similarly, another aspect, some of you are coming from telecom background, right? So yes, you do have 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and then now 6G is going on. Doesn't mean that everybody needs to go to the same evolution methodology. Some people are coming from India, some of you are in Bangladesh and Vietnam. I don't think we have, at least at a high level, I am talking about, we have followed all the phases to get it into. Some places we can skip some of the intermediate technology and directly jump from 1 to 2. But the compatibility issues and those things we will talk about. But that gives us a specific condition to understand what we are really talking about, right? So to understand or to answer your point, just I taken an example of Internet of Things where I have seen a lot of terminology. What they are not, they disappeared from the overall technological maturity after it reaches to Q3. Okay, something like pervasive computing. It's not a common word now. People started using some other words, and then research also slowly getting into the maturity now, and AI is taking over those. That's one example. As I mentioned on the telecom as well, some of them it's not like every technology needs to go in the same evolution. We can skip some of those as well. So does it answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I echo your comment on IoT. I record the history of IPv6 similar to what we said. It is demising by the newer version.
Exactly. Some standards will take over and talk about satellite phones or something. Now satellite communication is back with all this Starlink and all. Now what kind of waves it is creating. But earlier some satellite phones, because of the bulky nature and all, from telecom example, that did not survive, right? It's a good innovation. But it maybe GSM is taken over. Somebody will say CDMA is much more good technology than GSM, but around the world, what followed? Mostly the GSM thing, right? So that is all convenience, and then who dominates the business models beyond the technology? There are other things, right? At least telecom people able to appreciate. Hopefully others also, because everybody is using
absolutely.
mobiles.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, Sam.
Yes, Professor. So in this GGU DBA program,
Yes.
some of us will be writing a dissertation, some of
Yes.
us will be writing a book,
Yeah.
and some of us will be doing the doctoral business plan.
Mhm.
So let's say I understand for a doctoral business plan, when we
Mhm.
build our MVP,
Mhm.
then the MVP, the minimum viable product, should
Mhm.
be in the section of the plateau of productivity, right? In this time. I should not build the
Okay.
MVP, let's say, of an innovation trigger section.
But you can, by the time you don't require to wait till the plateau. By the time what happens, it's already matured, enough problems are there. But an MVP, when you talk about minimal viable product, that again
Yes.
goes back to Vin's comment, right? Where as say now I'm building agents in my day-to-day activity, right? And I'm going targeting to production. I already shown what I'm building to my customers, right? So it's not just a POC, but it is maybe an MVP what we have, just as an example, because that is public, I can talk about, right? So it's nothing proprietary information. But at the same time, I don't limit myself only to the fifth quadrant, even when you're building MVP. If you don't want to touch the one, but that is still not mature technology, but you can definitely bet on 2 and 3. They are mature technologies. Just think of it. Generative AI. Can you see where it is as of 2025? It is still in 3. It is taking
Yes.
2 to 3 years. Maybe this year they may push it to the 4, or maybe still in the 3. We will see. Some people usually ask me the question, "Oh, Gen AI, we thought it is already matured. It should be plateau. Why still it is at the 3?" So that means it is still that CLP, cost, latency, performance, and then generalizability. It is still taking time because some more investment needs to be there. Right problems needs to solve it. So to answer your point, don't limit only to the 5, right? Don't touch 1. That is perfect from your side, unless you see some maturity of that and then changing. But you can concentrate on 2 and 3. That also, I will give you one more thing, and see something which are in the white or light blue. That means what? They are maturing within next 2 years, roughly 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
There you can really bet on it, no problem.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the quantum AI, artificial general intelligence, those will be risky because that will be still in, unless you are doing a fundamental research where many of the organizations may or not be able to do, right? So that's how I will answer your point.
So then, let's say for another student who would want to submit a book for the
Okay. Okay.
So would it be different from an MVP?
Depends. MVP means you are trying to give a little more business value of it, whereas the book
Yes.
you are talking about, you may require to implement something in an MVP, at least at a prototype level and all. That kind of constraints you don't have in the other 2 options, right? So when you are talking about the book, you can be little more liberal, and you don't require to ignore the one. So you can talk about that technology, how it is influencing, how you want to give the plan. Those are the things we can talk about. I won't exclude explicitly, especially for the book and all the dissertation, any of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can go and choose based on your risk appetite, as Vin was mentioning, what business problem you are trying to solve. That is very important, because here it is not even though business leaders has given this input, this is more on the technology maturity we are talking about. You need to map it to the right business problem and then take it to the solution.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Great. So there is a comment from Peter or question you will see. Some new introduction, whether tangible or software, may become white elephants. Is this the gist of hype cycle, or the keyword is adoption, right? Exactly, the adoption. So adoption of the right technology and wide scale adoption. The region of plateau doesn't mean that, okay, I'm one person army, and then I'm able to adopt it, and then I reach it level 5. That will not be accepted. So wide range of adoption is what we are talking about. Okay. Hopefully it is giving you right set of inputs for you to think through beyond the session, right? These are the things which your day-to-day life you are trying to use. So that's the main purpose. Okay. If you are good so far, then slowly let me go into few more thoughts. I have given the link as well where we are. So I worked on 100+ use cases in my journey so far, and I won't claim everything is in production. I'll claim only 35% of them, roughly around 35% as we speak now, because in the recent past, that too in the last 5-6 years only, we are trying to push to the production. Not 5-6, even earlier also, but the percentage is very less in the beginning, right? Initially, first 3-4 years, proving the concept, showcasing to the customer, is it really working, or product features. Then slowly we are into the environment where we solve the real problems and push it to the production. But what I observed there, let's see if you are able to echo my thoughts or any of the points you want to add value or contradict. The two approaches I was talking about is I have seen interesting business problems which are coming from the business leaders like you, and you may not be sure what data will help you to solve. We need to figure it out. Whereas second case is more like I am sitting on the file of data. Some of you are saying healthcare, some of you are saying fintech. You know how much of data you are sitting on. And I'll say more than 90% of data I can call in enterprise level as dark data. Why? I'm just collecting it. I don't think I'm using it in any analysis purpose. Okay. Then why do we want to go with that? Then how can I utilize the data to solve an interesting business problem? In both the cases, the starting point is slightly different. But what I'm trying to convey here, as this may be, I'm not talking about only Gen AI, the bigger AI approach, where Gen AI also can be part of it, is I need to have a valid business problem and relevant data. Unless I have that, I may not be able to use the general AI or even generative AI. Second thing is I worked in both platform and I worked in the product and service organization almost equally, roughly 50-50%. But luckily, I'm part of the R&D teams, even in the, let's say, service companies. But that gives me an exposure saying that now the difference between product companies and service companies with respect to AI is slightly dimming. And then we are focusing on platforms and solutions. What does that mean is, even Microsoft of the world or Gemini's of the world coming from these Googles, they do have the platforms and frameworks like PyTorch, then TensorFlow, those also there. On top of that, it is easy for us to build the solutions. What I'm trying to summarize there is we do have even IBM Watson, Accenture is having, and Infosys IM was the key architect for their earlier version of it, right? So irrespective of whether you are working in product organization, service organization, your own entrepreneur thing, there are things which you are able to utilize, right? By building these platforms and solution-based approach. That is another aspect. So I'll take a pause after this. Another important point I want to convey here is this is applicable to your traditional AI and Gen AI as well. Okay. And these are all the precursors to understand what the one-line definition, two-line definition of Gen AI and how we are trying to use. We'll go into that. Another important aspect as we talk about here is I am dividing the data availability, or when you say multimodal model here, these are the 7 types. I'll tell why, but just follow up: numerical, categorical, text, image, audio, video, and signals. Some of you may say, what are the types of data sources? Structured, unstructured. Maybe someone says continuous, discrete. These are all valid points, right? But I'm double clicking beyond structured and unstructured here and tell you 7 types, and I'll tell you the reason as well. So some of you are coming from healthcare background, or everybody can relate from your day-to-day activities as well. These are examples for each of the type of data in healthcare scenario. And the same thing is giving as a color coding example as well. But the important point you need to understand here, most of the numerical, text, image, video, audio, you know, but only categorical and signals. Categorical means it's more like gender, male, female, or cancer stage 1 to 6. So those are the things which we are talking at the categorical level, binary or non-binary, no problem. Signals is nothing but your anything not belong to any of those 6 will go to the signals. That's the last one. Okay, I give an example of ECG, EMG, and voltage signals and all. Now, what is so special about it? Why should I bother about that? The reason is you already know machine learning and deep learning. Let me make a statement and whether you say yes or no. Okay, or easiest way is, okay, I'll give one option, 2 options. Let's see how many of you will go with option 1 and how many of you go with option 2. After understanding these 7, my option 1 is, based on the type of the data, you have specific machine learning, deep learning models to apply, including, let's say, Gen AI. This is statement 1. Statement 2, no, it is not like that. We can apply any of these data points to any of our models. Only thing is, it is our responsibility to convert it into a vector form before pushing it into the model. That's the second option. You will go with option 1 or option 2. If you understand machine learning and deep learning clearly, will you go with option 1 or option 2? Do you want me to repeat?
Yeah, please do.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So you understand these are the 7 types of data. You would challenge me back if it is not, if you not agree to that. If you are saying these are the 7 types, the option 1 says, yes, we are using these 7 types. You already know a lot of machine learning and deep learning algorithms. Option 1 says, based on the type of data, I do have specific machine learning, deep learning algorithms which I need to use. Okay, this is numerical, you use this, text, you use this, image, you use this. Like that, we have specific points. That's option 1. Option 2 says, no, we can use any of the machine learning, deep learning models to any of the data, but I just need to convert it into a numerical form. You will go with option 1 or option 2.
I think option 1.
If I go for a machine learning, then option 1 looks very fine. Yes, in case if I'm dealing with a numerical data set, then definitely I'm having some of the algorithm which deals with the numerical data, for example, decision tree and random forest and something. But in case if I'm having a heterogeneous data set, then I would definitely prefer to go for deep learning models, which, for example, on an image side, I would definitely prefer image classification related algorithms. So for me, option 1 should be the one which I would go, because I'm having a specific algorithms.
Let's see. Yeah. That's where the major confusion is. That's what I expected. I will demystify what is the correct answer. Okay, just in a minute. So anyone with option 2, or mostly you are going with option 1? Okay, that's what I'm seeing some responses. Let me clarify. You have some examples saying, okay, maybe image, I will apply CNN. Maybe for text, I don't know what is there in your mind. That's the kind of understanding typically people will have in the beginning. That's the reason I started with this, to demystify your understanding. I will say option 2 is correct. Let me justify. Even though you have some examples, yes, CNN is good for images. But if that is the case, just think of it. This should be your slide 1 on your machine learning. These are the different types. Let me tell you, for numerical logistic regression or whatever, decision tree or random forest, or maybe for text data, this one. But this is not the way you were taught. Just think of it. You learn supervised learning, unsupervised learning, or reinforcement learning, and then assumed, yes, the data, let it come, heterogeneous or homogeneous. Okay. And then what it takes, especially in the deep learning or maybe any of your scikit-learn kind of methods, by the time it reaches to the modeling aspect, I will say that it reaches to a vector form. And we are converting it. Who is converting it? Image, pixels, I can convert it into vector form. Text, there are word embeddings, I can convert it into. Numerical, yes, some normalization I can do. So if you follow slowly my statement again in the option 2, I'm not saying specific algorithm I am aware of machine learning or deep learning like in option 1. Instead, I can use any of the methods what is available in the machine learning and deep learning. But my responsibility as a data scientist or a data engineer or a domain guy to convert these into a vector form. That's what my option 2 was. Only exceptions are there may be some preferred ones. Okay, CNN may be good for image, but there also CNN is not only for images. I can use any two-dimensional data. For images, that is fine, but doesn't mean that people will usually confuse image means CNN and CNN means image. I can't use any other data. That's not correct. With this explanation, are you going towards option 2? Or still anything I need to clarify if you're still sticking into option 1 only?
Professor, what I understand that option 1 is a bit specific and option 2 is generalized, right? This is what
Yes,
what it's saying.
yes,
Both are
yes.
correct. Both are correct, but option 2 is more.
Yeah, more. That means you should first understand, yes, theoretically, as you were saying, Suver, you should first agree that, yes, these were the generalized statement in terms of option 2, that is correct. Option 1 specifically, okay, there may be some preferences, okay, for images, maybe CNN or any of that like that, right? Maybe some audio speech kind of models, you may have some specific one. That's okay. I'm not denying that. But universally, you should all accept in terms of it. I can use for any type of data as long as I am converted into that embeddings. I can use any of the methods available, machine learning and deep learning. Efficiency point of it will help us to choose one versus the other. Are we good?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So that is very fundamental point. I'm not surprised. It is very common for us to see the mix of answers, and that's my duty to clarify that. Okay. So now,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Professor.
Go ahead.
Professor, I've got a question for you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, as business leaders and time is of essence.
Yes.
Would you pick 1 or 2? I'm just asking you.
It is still 2 because the reason is 1 is a subset. That means 1 means if you are sticking to 1, what will happen? You are assuming there are specific methods working for that. That is not that easy to identify. Just think of it. Random forest, I'm asking you. Can you apply to any of the data or any specific data?
Okay, specific data.
No, specific data type, I mean, is it limited to numerical, categorical, text, image? Just think from that direction, not the data I'm talking about, data type or data source I'm talking about. Can I apply any of these to the random forest? Or can I apply only numerical or categorical or any of them which you are thinking?
Any of these.
Any of these, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Only thing is, maybe some specific things, CNN is good for images that may be dominating your decision making. But otherwise, most of the methods, just think of it, where maybe RNN is good for sequential data, something like text. So those kind of specific choices you may make. But take especially the general methods of this decision tree, logistic regression, or what else? Maybe SVMs or random forest. You can apply any data. Agree?
I think the question was more on the lines of probably the efficiency of the model, the computational power, the cost, etc. while selecting. I think that was a slightly better way of asking the same question.
Yes. Exactly. Peter, you are also in the same line or any different?
Yeah, but hi, Prof. Actually, it's probably a side question. Two thoughts came to mind. One is that where do you place heat?
Where do you place what?
Heat. Like you during the SARS and COVID, you have got these infrared detectors that actually, capture whether the person is flaring red or orange or what. So that kind of data first come, is color, right? So the brightness of the color is what form of data? That's one. Number two is that something that is very hard to to detect and then classify is, for example, if you will find a man lying on the floor, or in a drain, how do you, medically you could actually check whether this person is actually drunk and fell because of the alcoholic smell.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Or like that's what police do, right? They smell the alcohol. But for drunken driving, all this. So that kind of data, smell is also not measurable, right?
Yeah, as of now, there are Internet of Senses we used to call in my previous organization, like odor and all that. But as of now, those kind of things are still not there, right? So that is the limitation as we speak now within the AI models. Mostly you are seeing either the audio or the whatever the existing ones. Still, the other senses are still not part of it. That is the limitation. Yes. Okay, Vin, you have any comment, question?
Yes, I just want to clarify. So from what I understand is the first is if you choose the first method, it seems like it involves human more. And it's more it might be more biased and also underestimate the power of the models. And then the second, it seems to like more generalized and more like automatic. Let them because it can be applicable in anything. So
Yeah.
that's what I understand.
Yeah.
And then third, I would regarding the converting to vector until now. So for the first method, you might not need to convert, or the best practice now is just convert everything to vector.
So
Either.
even in the first method, we need to convert. Otherwise, the model, just think of it, any of the machine learning or deep learning model, they don't understand your data directly. They
Yeah.
only play with your matrices. You are playing with matrices only, whether it's a deep learning or machine learning. So everybody need to convert it. That's where the
Yeah. So
pre-processing step in your machine learning pipeline or deep learning pipeline, there is a pre-processing step, right? After your data cleaning or ADA and all that. So that's what I was emphasizing.
yes. So either one or two option, you still need to convert to
You need
vector
to still
anyway,
convert.
and
Exactly.
then let the models. And then let the generalized models decide.
Yes, exactly. So now let's go into a few more minutes as I requested. Maybe we'll try to wind up in next 10 to 15 minutes. So what we will do here is a few more aspects of Gen AI, then go into what I'm going to cover tomorrow also we will do. Here you are seeing something like diffusers, GANs, GPT-3. These are the things which are actually playing the role in last few years, I will say, right? So maybe 2014 it started, maybe 10 plus years ago. Then diffusers are relatively new. Then maybe GPT's large language models are based on transformer networks is 2018 in last 6-7 years. So how it works and all, we will double click. I thought I will get little more time to get it because we are went into little more discussion interactive. That's perfectly fine in the beginning. So we will talk about the double clicking of it. What is diffusion? What is, just as an example, generative adversarial network, as the name indicates, it's like a generator and discriminator. Just to give an example, the discriminator is more like your police. Generator is like your, let's say, fake note generator. Initially, when you are trying to build something from the noise, as you say, maybe I'll try to get it into your laser pointer mode. So here I am talking about. So the role of generator is to generate a fake note as close as real note. So the discriminator is not able to identify, the police not able. Initially, it is very easy. It is coming from noise. It is just like a very easy to from a original note to the fake note. But in between, when it is real or fake, there is a back propagation, the standard method which you are aware of in the deep learning. It is trying to update both discriminator and generator. And in the process, discriminator is also becoming strong. Even generator is also becoming strong. And slowly to reach to a situation where the discriminator is finding it as difficult. It is very close to the, let's say, the real note, and it is becoming 0.5, 0.5. I'm not able to discriminate, right? So that's the kind of a maturity what we are seeing as we are learning from the standard method of backpropagation. Only thing is two networks are there parallelly. two neural networks. Like that, there are other methods from diffusers. You may be using DALL-E or some other methods from Gemini as well. Similarly, the transformers I already talked about, GPT-3, GPT-4, all that. So these are all playing the good, important role in generative AI. And then just like this, give me a 45-second video of a teddy bear washing dishes. It may not be there as an image or a video, but we are creating on the fly, right? You may be using it, a lot of these things in your day-to-day activities, if not in office environment, even in your personal environment, right? So what does that mean in the ChatGPT says is it may be a oracle of wisdom guiding us through ever expanding realm of knowledge. They keep on updating and all. But one interesting point I can comment there is we never expose, even though there are copyright issues on these cases, on these Googles of the world or OpenAI, I will argue some enterprise data within the firewall can never be given to these GPTs, general GPTs, right? That gives us an opportunity in an enterprise AI saying that whether you use securely based on their understanding, you won't be able to train it. Even though I'm using it for enterprise AI, you won't be able to train it. You means these GPTs of the world, right? That is one way to look at. Or we build our own GPTs, right? So internally. What does that really mean for us is in terms of what's happening. Yes, we do have lot of interesting text generation capabilities, and you are using the image generation capabilities. Is there anyone in this cohort who has not used any of these Gen AI capabilities? I'll be surprised if someone says yes, right? Because on your fun basis or maybe on your practice or enterprise level, I'm not talking about the tool, whichever the tool, right? Whether you don't understand internally what is happening, that doesn't matter. Are you using it and getting some valuable output from there? That's what we are talking about. But the unfortunate thing is, this can give a grammatically correct nonsensic statement. That means whatever the GPT has generated, can you trust 100%? And without your validation, can you just, let's say you are composing a mail and then there is a co-pilot which is helping, whether it's a client mail or your boss mail, whatever it is, right? Do you trust the reply from auto reply from the let's say the Copilot Outlook also may be integrated there? Do you trust 100%, or you will validate and then test it and send it?
Validate.
Exactly. That's where we are right now, because that we can't trust that completely, right? It may, over the time, it may be that's the human in the loop, agentic behavior that we will talk a little later, but that's what it is. So as of now, the foundation models are very expensive, and then and that's what I'm talking about. Output needs to be validated, and yeah, it is all built on large output, this uncurated data. That is the challenge for the foundational models. This I have given you whatever existing. And the last point, what we are talking about here as a generative models, and then try to talk about what will happen tomorrow. So these are the last two slides for me. Another 5 minutes, we'll close. So what we are talking here is now you need to differentiate what is the discriminative AI, especially the machine learning and deep learning. And now slowly we are expanding it into the generative modeling. What does that really mean for us? Here also I'm giving some data. Let it understand the pattern of it, learn from that particular model, okay, and then try to sample the new spaces. That's how, whether it is a GANs, whether it is a discriminators, whether it is other methodologies, that's perfectly fine. But given some training data, can I generate new samples from the same distribution? Okay. So mathematically, if you are talking about, yes, I want to understand the pattern of probability of the model of the X and approximates this specific data. Then sampling new X, that means new samples needs to be created. Then what is the value of it? Why should I generate this? Right? Those are the things. I'll give you enough examples from healthcare, edutech, right? Even fintech. Some examples we'll try to cover tomorrow and then take it forward from there. But to summarize the aspects of why generative models, by the way, what is generative model? So whatever the content you are being generated, the probabilistically I was talking about the model of X, I'm understanding the pattern. And within the pattern, I'm talking about new samples. That can be any type of data. All the 7 types what I talked about. It may be an impression saying that large language model, you are talking about language. Maybe it is only limited to text. No, it is, even though the LLM, if not LLM, if you can ask multimodal LLMs, that means it can generate any type of data. So you are generating videos, you are generating images, those things as well, just like what you see here. So why do we really require, okay, maybe some interesting applications of super resolution, colorization? Can you think of? Maybe some black and white old photo was there, and then you were trying to paint in color. Possible. Or your famous Charlie Chaplin black and white movie was there, and then you were trying to apply that into a good quality super resolution and apply colorization. Very much possible as we speak now. So similarly, learn useful features for the downstream tasks and then get insights from high dimensional data like that. Many more applications we'll be able to talk in the next session. I'm just giving a gist of what you have you will talk what Gen AI is all about, little more structural way. What are those investment summary? Why? Because we are talking about applications, you need to link it to the investments, what's happening around the world, and understand some limitations before thinking everything is applications of Gen AI. Okay. Once you understand first 45 minutes to 1 hour, rest of the 2 hours we'll specifically mention in terms of application landscape, use cases from different domains. I'll still keep some time towards the end so that we can talk about your own industry as well. I just given 1-2 slides as a reference that if you want to do any of the pre-reading, I'll share it to you anyway right away after the session. That's what I have for today. And then maybe I just took, as I requested you, maybe 10 minutes more. But any questions, comments? Sometimes I will extend the session beyond that also because this is anyway last session of the day. But it's my duty to wind up logically the main points what we promised in the beginning of the session within our stipulated time, but hardly 5-10 minutes here and there. Okay. So that I'll have enough time for you, or if you have individual questions and all, I can try to extend towards the end if it is not generalized. Okay. So because this is the first session, so hope you are able to follow me. Is the pace okay? Any general comments to make it more effective? Please feel free to share. So I'm adaptive. So, and it needs to be tailored to each of your requirements. And I respect your time on weekends, what you are spending, right? So any specific comments to make it effective, feel free to tell anytime.
Just one comment though. This slide that you put out there is brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. So this I'll cover tomorrow. This is just a precursor if you want to see tomorrow, because usually based on the previous experience, this is also learning experience. People told, okay, Professor, can you give me some precursor? I'm getting some time before the next session. So that's why I started adding. So till this point, it is for today's, and last 3 slides, what I'm going to update is mainly for you to go through it and then just see some references are there, and I'll cover tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. So then what I'll do, let me officially close the session here, but I'm available some more time. So feel free to drop off if you have other appointments. But thank you very much for making it interactive, and I hope we will learn from each other. And then I should be able to increase your confidence level of usage of Gen AI. And by end of the modules, we should collectively solve interesting problems and get that confidence. That's what I define it as a success of the program, right? Yeah, thank you. And then, yeah, I'm available. There are people, Prince, Niyaz, right? So if you have other questions, feel free to stay back, and then otherwise, feel free to drop off. Yeah, go ahead. I think in the order, if I go.
One question.
Yes. Yeah, please go ahead.
I know this the syllabus of this this whole course is going to be very interesting, and I'm very excited to go ahead with it. But I would like to understand that how much hands-on would be involved into it, because I would really like to do that. That's
yes.
And
we do have
especially the
three.
RAG
You
model.
do have especially definitely we all expect you to have the prompt engineering RAG. So they will cover maybe an Azure thing, just as an example, right? So let's say let them cover Dr. Vinay and all from the Azure perspective, so everybody will follow.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
if you're really interested at a Python level or this one, so maybe I will extend 10-15 minutes more. Any of the after the rack coverage may not be for everybody else, but if you want to run something locally, because Azure is talking about the cloud, right? Some Olama installation and then some background of the Python if you have. I'll spend 15-20 minutes to give you the glimpse of it, and I'll give you the code also, sample codes, and then these are the steps which I typically do it for other, not for GGUE cohort, by the way, but for some other programs. That information is ready for me, right? So if you are really interested on those, I'll be able to help you even at that code level as well. But as an extension, because other people may not be able to really follow up. So towards the end, I can take that.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, Niyaz, any questions from your side? Yeah.
Professor, I just wanted to your thought process on one of the aspect. So we want to go from the ML to DL to Gen AI.
Yes.
During the ML time, like we started relying on MSE, MAE, and other forms of error and trying to minimize that. And even when we moved to the DL also, like we adopted that. But when we come to the Gen AI, we are trying to mimic the human brain. For the human brain, the error is not only minimizing from what is expected. It tries to interpret in many forms, like how will I be perceived, the voice populi, and shame, the tomorrow's value, today's value, so many different aspects, and then it is being taken. But I do not see that the current any of the models are considering such kind of a feedback method to align to what is expected here. So maybe when I was reading the Transformers multi-head attention, each of the attention head is looking in one way. In a way, it tries to look at it, but ultimately
multiple dimensions. Yeah.
Multiple dimensions. But ultimately, it converges to, okay, am I able to produce maybe the missing word or the next sentence? So it is converging back onto the error minimization. But like the human brain, a creative convergence, if it is not being attempted by Gen AI, will it ever reach the level of human intelligence?
Good question. But I think you are mixing two things. One, the transformer within the architecture of this multi-head attention and all that, maybe some of you may not be able to relate that way. We will anyway go in the 5th session or 6th session on that. So within the transformer, your point is correct, where you do have some kind of error minimization. How do you talk about it? Because as we are getting into, again, that is also some kind of extension of deep learning, right? Going into forward pass, some kind of a recursive nature, then back propagation, that kind of error loss is there. But that is within the aspect of what you are trying to learn. But that is not the only feedback mechanism. Have you heard of the RLHF, reinforcement learning with human feedback?
Yes, we are relying ultimately on the human being for bringing the other forms of the feedback.
But that is not the only thing. RL AIF also coming into picture. That means LLM as a judge, people are trying to use it. Then RL human feedback is the standard one, but again RL AIF also, RL AI feedback. But that means we need to trust first that particular model, right? LLM as a judge, those things are coming into picture. That's the first one of the perplexity you add. Even if you just think of your GPTs, very beginning 2022 and all, you don't have any even thumbs up, thumbs down also. Just like if I was asked the feedback, immediately you are giving instant feedback to me. Some thumbs up, some thumbs downs, or maybe whether you accept it or not. So I am able to relate because as a human, the same capability can I give it to a Gen AI or agent when it comes to, right? So they are not still matured at the same level of a human. It takes time, but the similar metrics are what you are conveying from deep learning is playing the role, but those are not the only metrics based on the translation activity or based on the retrieval, just like some of you ask retrieval augmented generation. I do have different metrics there. First, I need to make sure that retrieval is done properly or not. After that, the generation aspect will come into picture, right? So there are metrics, different metrics, which will help. One, you are seeing at a transformer individual level, and think from the overall application level. When you are applying that, you do have the feedback mechanism at a multiple places. We will talk some of those during the sessions as well.
Thanks, Professor. Thank you.
Okay, great. So still some of the half of the people are there. Yeah. Anything else I can add value before I share the deck? Immediately after the session, I'll try to upload the deck. Yeah. Any other open questions which if I not answered, if I miss anything on the chat, please let me know. Otherwise, this is the best. Okay, thank you. Thanks. I think I saw some messages. Thank you very much. Yeah, some of you are dropping and giving a thank you message. Yeah, thanks for you as well for your interaction and then active participation.
The session was very good, Professor. For our
Thank
opening session, it brought a lot of details. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. For some people, yeah, it may be a good night, but others have a good day. So is it Vietnam is how many hours ahead? It may be
1.5 after, so it's always 11 p.m.
11 p.m. Okay, maybe time to go to bed then. So good night.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Very, very
Thank you.
helpful and interesting.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you. So for the people who are from other side of the world, Canada, then Caribbean, so few people though, but even the Saudi and other people also, it is still not very late. Yeah, you will still have some more day left. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. Good night.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm closing the session here. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you, Professor. Bye.
Thank you.